Well, welcome to the December 84th edition of the Sports Cage. It's Dave Thomas filling in for Barney Shankaruk on this Thursday afternoon. Buckle down, Saskatchewan. The snow is coming. Whether we like it or not, it is here, but hopefully not here to stay long as plus temperatures are coming back for the weekend. But hey, why would that deter us from talking baseball? It's opening day in the major leagues. We're going to get to Arash Madani a little bit later on today. Again, we've got some fun lined up for you. Sharky going to be joining us all afternoon long. I've been waiting for this day for an awful long time, my friend, so I can't wait. I don't think we've ever done this before, have we?
We have not worked together. No, it's quite a thrill for me.
The thrill's all mine.
No. I feel like I'm a little Luke Mullender right now. A little Luke Mullender.
A little Luke Mullender? No way. See, and I feel the same way, though, because Luke Mullender is Luke Mullender.
He is. He's very special.
Yes.
And he gets to work with you.
Oh, well. Okay.
Yeah.
Well, the compliments are going to continue throughout the course of the afternoon. We'll tell you that. As mentioned, we will talk baseball with Arash Madani. Glen Suitor is coming up after 5 o'clock with press coverage. We're going to talk about the evolution of football operations departments in the Canadian Football League, as well as many other topics to discuss. Team Matt Dunstone. So we got EJ Harnden, Colton Lott, and Matt himself are going to be joining us before we get to 6 o'clock. We will not have... I don't know why Ryan isn't here, but he's not here.
Okay.
But the rest of them they're in Utah getting ready.
They're ready for the big game.
Yep. They were watching the Oilers last night, and then they're getting themselves set to go.
The Oilers actually won.
Oilers actually won. Maybe Dunstone's the lucky charm. You'll see him more now.
Yeah, I don't know. Maybe they'll drag him around. They gotta find some magic dust right now, the Oilers. They can't seem to carry two in a row.
No, I know what you mean.
Yeah.
We will talk a little bit about that. Speaking of the curling guys, though, it's going to be very interesting to watch and see. And I'll ask, why not? Because you only live once. But when they play Team Sweden, how do you think that's going to go down?
Is it the Team Sweden from the Olympics?
It is the Team Sweden from the Olympics.
I think Sweden is a little sheepish.
Okay.
If I had to guess where they are, they made a stink out of nothing that turned out something that wasn't there. Then they finished dead last. It wasn't a good look for them.
No.
I think they'd be quiet about it. Yeah.
Okay.
I think they'd be quiet. Yeah.
We'll hear from Team Matt Dunstone. And coming up in about 20 minutes or so from now, we're going to head out to Vancouver, where it's a lot nicer than here. Well, thanks for rubbing that in. But we're going to hear from reigning CFL Most Outstanding Player, Nathan Rourke. Going to talk about what he's been doing this offseason, talk about flag football. He wants to represent Canada at the Olympic Games and is going to be playing adult flag football in Vancouver with the blessing of the BC Lions and going to go out there and put on a show. We're going to find out about that conversation. How did that go with Buck Pierce? I'd really like to try this. What do you think?
It would be an interesting conversation to hear how that worked out.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. Maybe there's you're not getting paid if you're hurt sort of part of the conversation. Yeah.
That's a heck of a risk. On
everybody's part.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Big stories today in sports. Let's start with football, shall we? And the Saskatchewan Roughriders are going to need a bigger trophy case, not only to hold the Grey Cup, but head coach Corey Mace won Coach of the Year. Probably could have won it last year, but he was up against Jason Moss as the finalist for the award that was handed out pre-CFL Combine in Edmonton. Is anyone surprised or shocked at this?
I don't think so. I mean, they could have given it to him at the end of the season. They could have given it to him at the awards at Grey Cup. He's continued to develop and build a strong culture and a strong football team in Saskatchewan. There's no doubt in my mind that Corey Mace has done an outstanding job and will continue to do so. And I think this is one of many trophies that are going to come his way.
All right. We're going to talk more about trophies in just a second, but let's talk about the other award that the Saskatchewan Roughriders won last night. That was Football Operations. Ted Gavea Award, the first time they've ever awarded it. And a shout-out going to Jeremy O'Day and the crew in Football Ops. They get the nod from the CFL for the work that they do in recruiting, in developing players, and analyzing what needs to be done when it comes to your roster construction.
Is this only the football side? Like, this doesn't include the sales, marketing?
No.
All that sort? This
is sheer football ops.
So, if I think back to when I was younger and the Riders would bring in a guy they were trying to get as a free agent, there was often a challenge based on just what Regina brought and what it had, stadium, everything else. That's all gone. The stadium's outstanding. The things they do, like they've got a chef, meals are prepared, right? The weight room and the fitness facilities are second to none outside of NFL teams. So they've built this and then added the culture to it, if you will, and added the right people to it. this goes to a day that he should have won this award because he's built everything that goes into this, right? Free agents want to come here now, right? This is a destination. Before it was a flyover state, not quote Jason Aldean, but now it is a landing in place. And that comes from great leadership and a great operation.
And I guess maybe if we're going to throw out country references where the blacktop ends, Keith Urban.
Yes.
And of course, you look at Highway number 1, you can understand why I'm saying that, because the potholes between here and Moose Jaw. Anyways, long story short. But you look at that award. So you mentioned that becoming a destination for players, again, the free agency that's been happening. I think you have to go ahead and suggest that the hiring of head coach Corey Mays is a pretty good start, too.
Yep.
Are those the biggest accomplishments for Jeremy O'Day in football ops, or is there another one?
Whenever you get the ring, that's the accomplishment, right? Because you're a part of building that up. I think he took a lot from before and said, this works, we don't want to do this anymore. I think Jeremy's been around long enough in this facility with this football team to go, these are the things we need to do to be special. He's created an environment where it's special to be a rider. I would even say the off-season stuff and the tour of the community, whether they have the Grey Cup or not, and what they do with that, that's part of the environment. A player goes to La Loche and they can't wait to see him and make him moose stew and bannock and give him fur-lined mittens and everything else. You don't get that playing in Toronto. You don't get that kind of environment, right? So that's part of the whole operation, building up the football ops.
Where does draft success fit in? Because if you looked at it, at one point last season, the Saskatchewan Roughriders had 16 players on their roster that were drafted by Jeremy O'Day.
As an operation, when you have a scouting staff or an analyzer that can go and say, these are the players that fit best to play the CFL game and with the Riders. So it's not just that they are great football players. They pick players that are going to play with the Riders and with their system. So there's two parts to that. So there's a lot of success. That goes to, and I don't know who's in charge of the draft. Don't quote me on that. But whoever's looking at those players, doing the interviews, having the conversations, they're recognizing, whether it's MLS, whether it's Schaefer Baker, whether it's Picton, go down the list, they're recognizing who are the guys that are going to come in and fit in here. The CFL draft before used to be offensive linemen. That's all it was 15 years ago.
Yeah, that's right.
Now we're drafting linebackers. We're looking for safeties. We're looking for cornerbacks, right? So U Sports has developed, giving the CFL draft an opportunity to look at players way differently than they did before. But your success will only be as good as your Canadians. So yes, it's a huge part of it.
Take your sport background, right? You've watched a lot of hockey. You've watched a lot of various sports.
Yep.
And when you're trying to pick that next player for your roster, if you will, right?
Yep.
How much are you leaning on analytics? Like, again, I can go ahead and I can see, hey, there's a 50-goal scorer. That's probably going to be a pretty good guy for us. But how much are you also relying on gut and that instinct you get from talking to prospective athlete?
I'm maybe the wrong guy to talk because I'm a little old school on this.
No, I think we might be the same.
Yeah. Guts a lot. Dave, for me, guts a lot. Especially when I was scouting kids when I was younger, I'd look at what they do when they didn't have the puck, right? I can get that you can score goals, right? First, you have to be able to skate. We can cut half the kids on a team with one drill that's a skating drill, right?
Yep.
We can decide who can play. So now I've got you. You can skate. I know you can score. What do you do when you don't have the puck? Are you the last guy back? Are you in position? Do you block a shot? Do you communicate? Right?
Yeah.
So there's a big part of that in terms of that's not analytics. You're not going to get those numbers in any sort of chart or form. You're going to get those by conversations and by knowing those and watching them.
Now, we also want to hear from you. You've got a question for us, our guests. Anybody, we want you to weigh in on the Prairie Land Rentals text line at 936-6262. That's 306-936-6262 for Prairie Land Rentals. From small power tools to skid steers, they probably have what you need. Deal with the owner at 600 Albert Street. If you're following, we are going to jump to hockey in a second before we get to Mr. Rourke on the phone. But curling. The Canadian
Yes.
mixed doubles are on right now. Nancy Martin and Ryland Kleider are representing Saskatchewan at the Canadian Championship in Surrey, BC. Not the greatest day for them thus far. They had hammer. They scored in the first end. Then they traded another shot and single with Gary and Withers and Pietrangelo out of Ontario. In the third end, they gave up a steal of 2. And then in the fourth end, they gave up a steal of 4. And then in the fifth end, they gave up a steal of 5. So they now trail 8-1 going into the sixth end with hammer.
If you give up a steal of 5, at that level, there's something wrong.
There's a problem.
In the wrong spot.
There's a problem. Have you ever played or watched mixed doubles? It's a completely different game because you have power plays and all kinds of other things, which kind of brings some excitement into it. But to come back from down 7 is tough.
I've only done it recreationally.
Have you done it?
Mixed,
okay.
Mixed doubles recreationally, not at a competitive level. That's more about whose turn is it to buy when you're playing recreational curling. But yeah, it would be a very different dynamic as to sweeping, to shot calling, to everything
absolutely.
else. Yeah.
Speaking of sweeping changes in the Manitoba curling scene today. Carrie Anerson is shaking up her team. Val Sweeting is out, as well as their alternate, Kristen Karwacki. You know you've done something wrong if you're dusted as the alternate.
As a backup goalie, you're the problem.
Right, that's right. That's number one problem on our list. Coach Reed Carruthers is also out. Carrie Anerson had a very candid conversation with her prior to competing at the World. Said, the weight of the world and more was on her shoulders. You know, you win 5 Scotties Tournament of Hearts, you don't convert and capitalize into a world championship. And she got off social media. She turned everything off just to try to escape it and get away from the criticism that she felt before Calgary. And then she loses in the gold medal game where they just couldn't get anything going. And the phrase I hate, we're on the wrong side of the inch. Stop saying that, curlers, please. I understand that it's true, but there was a couple of draw opportunities and chances for a deuce. I don't know. I don't think that Val Sweeting, who is a Saskatchewanian, by the way, was the problem.
Yeah. No, like we say, sometimes it's the wrong person in the wrong spot, right? Or your second should be your third, or your lead can't sweep as good as you need, and your lead sweeps, 3/4 of your rocks. So you need different people in different spots. Maybe there's somebody better that's available out there that they think will fit that spot better. I think curling, more than anything, your errors are so highlighted. It's like being the quarterback or the kicker, right?
Yeah, that's right.
Because it's you throwing the rock. Not often do they blame the sweepers.
True.
Right? Or the spot. It's you throwing the rock. So, maybe it's time for just a change. And maybe they're just not getting along.
Oh, I would love to know, because it always seems like the breakups are amicable, but you know that they're not.
They never are.
They're not.
How do you poke somebody in the eye in a nice way? That's what you're doing. Poke, poke. You're out. You're out. You're out. You're out. Can't poke somebody in the eye in a nice way.
Playoff hockey, SJHL in full swing, of course, and we'll have the SJHL report with Benny Walchuk coming up a little bit later this afternoon. But only one of the 4 series is done, ending in a sweep. That was the Flin Flon Estevan Bruins series that maybe thankfully, thanks to gas prices, is done. But the Bombers sweep going 4 in a row, but the other series still going strong. You know what? That was the only series you looked at and went, Estevan's really got a big mountain to climb here, right? Mm-hmm. Everybody else went into the playoffs either in the right mode. Melfort going in and play Battleford, although they're down 3-1. They had a big comeback game in Game 4. I think that there's so much parity in the league, and Benny's talked about it all year long, that, right? I mean, Weyburn went from 2nd to 5th, right? There's a whole bunch of moving parts. So it's any given night. Anybody can beat anybody else, and you just got to get hot outside of the Flin Flon Bombers. Yeah. Let's talk Western Hockey League for a moment. For folks that are watching the stream at sportscage.com, whether you're there on YouTube, on X, whatever the case may be, you'll see Sharky is wearing the Regina Pats jersey. I think that's my second favorite jersey. Wardrobe was a tough call today. Was it? Okay. Opening day of Major League Baseball. Yeah. Right? Yeah. We're going to the World Curling. We got the SJHL playoffs in the hat. Right? Could have worn Rider stuff for Corey Mace today. Yeah. Pats and Patsies are in the playoffs. This is the wardrobe I went with. Yeah. I like it. Like I say, my second favorite. My favorite Pats jersey is the traditional home white jersey. Just that nice, crisp, clean jersey. It is sharp. It is very sharp. I get ketchup on it, though, so I have to be careful. Understood. That's actually a very valid point now that you mentioned it. Yeah, that's why I like their dark jerseys. The one thing, and again, I was in Saskatoon for a long time. Yes. And sometimes you've gotten better, though. Thank you very much. You've gotten a lot better. From the outside looking in, The atmosphere in Regina in playoff season was something to behold. Now, again, the last experience that we had was that 7-game series with Connor Bedard.
Yeah.
And boy, was that fun. But
It was
just
a lot of fun.
the feeling in Southern Saskatchewan during playoffs is different. I can't tell you why, because that would make me a millionaire, because I'd be able to decipher things.
Be able to can it, yeah.
But are you starting to feel that around the city, some excitement with the team being back and having accomplished their goal simply of making the playoffs, and now it's house money?
No, I think there's some cautious optimism is the way I would put it. Medicine Hat is such a good team. They're such a firepower. And they've had the Pats number all year. They've played the Pats really, really well. I would have preferred they play the Raiders. I thought they played the Raiders a lot better or matched up better against PA. They've drawn the Tigers. The only way they've got a chance to get through this series and get a win is they're going to have to get a split in the Hat. Otherwise, they're chasing their tail. You can't come home 2-0 and try to get back into it. So if they get a split in Medicine Hat, they've got a chance. But they got to play error-free. Like, they literally super error-free, from penalties to giveaways to puck control. They got to play error-free. If they can make that close in Medicine Hat for 2, yeah, there will be some excitement when they come back to Regina.
The interesting part is that Prince Albert game where the Pats fell in overtime.
Yep.
Right? To me, that was a strategic masterpiece.
Yep.
In the way that the Pats played and performed, in that they didn't give the Raiders anything. They shut them down defensively, and then they capitalized. They only got the one glorious scoring opportunity.
And it worked.
Boom, it worked.
Yeah. I give Brad Hariff a lot of credit. He is a very, very good coach at figuring out how to beat other teams with what he's got. He doesn't want to play run and gun hockey.
No.
He doesn't want to play race to 10. He knows what he's got for his horses in front of him. When you watch him play the Oil Kings, you go, what are you doing? Why are you backing up? The Oil Kings are a puck possession team. They don't dump. Force them to do something they don't want to do. Same with the Raiders. Force them to do something they don't want to do. Unfortunately, with Medicine Hat, it doesn't matter what you force them to do, they'll adapt and do it well. They're an equally well-coached team, and they bring just so much firepower that it's hard to match that and take your team and beat that strategy they have.
Well, it's interesting you mentioned the Oil Kings. They draw Saskatoon in the first round, which I think could be a very interesting series, but the only thing consistent about the Blades this season might have been their inconsistency, kind of like the Weyburn Red Wings. And then you got PA taking on Red Deer, which I think is going to be I think that series is going to be a lot closer than some might think.
Well, Red Deer won the last 2 against the Raiders.
Yeah.
So they play them well. They play them hard. PA's got a very good club, though. Very, very good club. Great goaltending. Red Deer, again, they got to win one in PA so they don't chase their tail. But PA's very, very good. Saskatoon and Edmonton, I can see that one going either way. I really can.
Oh, can you? Okay.
Yeah. Same with Calgary and Brandon. I think that could go either way, too. If Saskatoon's streaky, they either lose or win. Well, if they get on a little bit of win roll, they'll take the Oil Kings out.
Evan Gardner in goal for the Blades, too, right?
Yeah.
Dynamic goaltender there.
Yeah.
How about the under-18 AAA final series between the Regina Pat Canadians and Moose Jaw Warriors? It has gone to overtime in each of the 3 games, not for the faint of heart.
I don't think anybody's surprised that saw those teams play all year, right? They went in overtime in the regular season. Mm-hmm. They're both very, very skilled, very, very talented, good goaltending, good defense. Like there's not a weak spot in either of those 2 clubs. So it's going to be who gets that chance to score them. If it's in overtime, it's bad. I think that we could be looking at 5 yet. I don't think this is going to end tonight. I think we could be looking at 5 and a long road ahead of us.
How about the coaching staffs for both teams? Because it's hard, right? Like at a junior level, to be making some of the high-level transitions and, again, adjustments that I think are being made. You're doing it at the under-18 level with some elite athletes for sure, right? There's 26 Western Hockey League prospects combined on the 2 teams.
Yep.
Like, this is some amazing hockey, and like I say, the coaching staffs have got to be on their toes.
Well, I'll guarantee you both coaches are looking at the videos go, how could we do this better? How could we make this better? And again, they're doing it at work. They're trying.
Yeah, that's right.
Ryan Hodgins is trying to teach a health class over there at Martin, and at the same time go through video. So there's not a point that they can go, we can really take advantage of that. They just have to do all of their stuff good all the time, if that's the right way to put it. Mm-hmm. They just can't make a mistake at any time. So I go back to, puck management. not taking penalties, right?
Yeah.
Making sure you bury your chances. If you do those things, you'll win. But both teams are very well coached, very well prepared.
Okay, you mentioned Major League Baseball opening day. The Jays don't get a chance to go until tomorrow when they take on the team formerly known as the Oakland Athletics. Now they play out of parts unknown, also known as Sacramento. But give me your take. I'm a huge Blue Jays fan, and I know that on Monday I was a Debbie Downer. I still am. I just am not a Blue Jays believer this season.
And we can go over this with Arash. He might even bring it up. Last year on opening day, we were on this show, and the Jays lost, 12-1 to Oakland?
Baltimore, I think it was.
Baltimore.
Yeah, it was bad.
12-1 to Baltimore.
Yeah, something like that.
I said it's over. It's over.
On day one.
On day one. Pack the bus. Let's get out of here. We're done. Bring up the AAA guys. Sell everything. We're done.
Yeah.
It turned out a little different than that.
It sure did.
So all the prognosticators and all the people going, it's bad, it's good, it's bad, it's good. It's never as bad or it's never as good as you think. And I think the Jays are in the mix. They got a lot of confidence. Confidence is a huge piece.
True.
They've retooled some pitching, which I like. I think they had to. They've added some more players, maybe not the Bichette level, but they can platoon and create some opportunities that way. And guys had career years, but that's saying maybe that's the new standard they play to, right? Like an Adam Barger, like a Clement. Yeah, they had great years, but is that now what we expect, or are we to expect a downfall?
I'm not going to kid you. I would have jumped out of my chair if you said Davis Schneider, because I'm going to ask Arash about that. I'm going to be point blank. Is he a Major League Baseball player? Because I don't know.
Well, then you could ask the same thing about Alejandro Kirk. I mean, there's a lot of short, overweight kids in the country looking at him going, I can play in the pros, right? You look at him, you go, you shouldn't be a baseball player.
No, you're right.
And you can't be a jockey at that weight. So you got to figure out what you're going to do, right?
Yeah.
So, I think, but Schneider's another guy. He plays hard every time he's out there, right?
But he can't hit or lay off the high heater inside.
Well, that's a coaching thing. That's some work with him, right?
There's a point, though, when you're in the majors, you just got to realize you can't coach it out of a guy, isn't there?
You got to get him to lean in. You got to get him to lean in. Take that one on the shoulder.
Did they? I don't even think they addressed their bullpen. Like, again, you were 2 outs away from the World Series, and it was because you didn't have a closer, and I don't think they found a closer.
Well, here's the other thing. There's not a bucket full of closers available. Like, there wasn't a closer sale on every team. So you've got a guy that did a pretty good job for you all year, and he lost the last game of the World Series. Well, how many other closers didn't play in the last game of the World Series? Right?
Yeah.
Right?
Yes,
Dave.
It's just like talking to my wife. I'm never going to admit I'm wrong fully. There's finally got to be some way I can find a way to salvage the argument.
So I think there's the Blue Jays are sitting there right now going, we'll take Hoffman till we have to make a move. Right?
Yeah.
Somebody else comes along that they go, we're not making the playoffs. We're not going anywhere. Make a deal. Right? That's what I see.
This time next year, are we playing baseball?
Because of this possible strike?
CBA?
There's some pretty greedy people on both sides. There's some pretty big numbers involved.
Mm-hmm.
And it's all television contract driven.
Right? It is. A lot of it is, yeah.
I don't know. That's too big a prognostication to make.
Yeah.
I don't know. Maybe, but not 100% for sure.
See, if I'm the Kansas City Royals right now, I was going to say the Milwaukee Brewers, but Darryl Davis over at the Leader Post would have been really upset with me. But if it's really hard to sell my fans that, we got a chance when we're going up against the Dodgers or the Mets or the Jays even, right?
There is an element within baseball that they have to fix from that salary cap standpoint. I mean, you can say the NFL doesn't have one at $350 million, but they do.
Yeah.
They do it, right? It's just really, really big.
Yeah, that's right.
But they have one, right? NHL has one. We've seen the parity come out of the NHL, how you have to build your franchise to be better. You can't just go out and buy your team at the trade deadline. So baseball does have to fix that. The guys that are winning don't want to fix it, right? And they're the guys with the money, and they're the guys dictating the terms. But you can't have a 4-team baseball league either.
No, that's true, right?
Yeah.
Very true. You got to sell hope, don't you, at some point?
At some point you do. Yep.
A little bit later in the show, we are going to talk about hope. I know the great outdoorsman that you are, and you're going to have to solve a debate that was started within the Saskatchewan Roughriders football operations department.
Oh, good heavens.
Oh, I know. It is very, very deep.
Okay.
It is a very big controversy, but we felt that you were just the expert that could weigh in and clear this one up one way or the other.
I'm on it, Dave. Bring it to the table. Let's get her fixed.
Hat on sideways. Yeah, why not?
Yeah.
We'll get her done.
Yeah.
Oh, boy. Anyways.
If I'm the expert, we're in trouble.
Yeah. No.
Yeah.
It's much different than that. Last piece of business I'll leave you with before we take a break.
Okay.
Think on this, Rider Nation. And, of course, let us know on the text line if you want, 306-936-6262. Today, 76th birthday for a very famous Canadian actor who was very prominent in the 2013 Grey Cup. Which actor?
I know.
Yeah?
Yeah. You want me to wait?
No, go ahead.
Martin Short.
Yeah, there you go.
There you go.
Brought a buddy along too, right?
Yeah. Brought some cool friend of his.
Yeah, there you go.
Hogged all the limelight. Yeah.
Stupid is. Never mind. That's the Sports Cage. That's what we got coming up. But next, it's the reigning CFL Most Outstanding Player. Can't wait to get him on the radio. Nathan Rourke. He is, of course, going to be joining us as we stream live at sportscage.com and on 620 CKRM. Thursday on the Sports Cage, Dave Thomas Sharky filling in for Barney on this Thursday, having some fun. And interestingly enough, already Dean is weighing in on the Prairieland Rentals text line. Wants to talk curling, says that the reason Val Sweeting was out was because Carly Burgess is in, and maybe Val will curl in her home province now.
Maybe. Yeah. She'll come back.
She does live in Edmonton, though. So
I know there's a whole bunch of you can live somewhere else and play for a different province thing. Mm-hmm. So I'm gonna go out on a limb. I'm gonna start a problem.
Okay.
I'm gonna start a problem. I think we should have two different things for deciding who goes to the Worlds and who wins the Brier.
Ooh.
I think the Brier should be the provinces and territories champion. But if you want to win, if you want to go to the Worlds, you can be one of those pro teams, right? So whoever your guys are, you go there as your pro team, right? You've collected enough points over the season and all the different tournaments and whatever other bonspiels they've got. And then from there we go to the Worlds.
Send your text messages at 306-936-6262 to Sharky. And again, our mailing address. No, we'll just give your home address.
Yeah. 123 Main Street.
Yeah, that's right. There you go. The Prairieland Rentals text line, of course, open for you. Deal with the owners at 600 Albert Street. I think we're ready to go out on the Western Pizza guest hotline. We've got a guest that I've been very excited about all day. I'm not going to kid you. Today is the day. Is Western Pizza, of course, the Greek-style pizza that has become famous around the world, plus all the Greek and Canadian food you can't get enough of. It's Western Pizza, the local legend. And we have got the most outstanding player in the Canadian Football League. And if you are a subscriber to the Insider Report through sportscage.com, you'd have been able to weigh in and tell us who the last Canadian MOP was before this gentleman, which we'll answer that question for you in a moment. But first, let's head out on that Western Pizza guest hotline and say good afternoon to Mr. Nathan Rourke. Nathan, thank you so much for taking time and joining us here this afternoon.
Yeah, thanks for having me, guys.
Well, it's great talking football anytime, especially when we're in the midst of a snowstorm here in Regina, which I'm assuming is a touch different in Vancouver. How has the offseason been for you, though?
Yeah, it's been great so far. We've got a great group of guys who are living here locally in the Vancouver area, and American and Canadian, and we got a really college feel around here with guys training every day together, just getting better, and we've got a lot of hungry guys waiting for the season to get going, and obviously make it come soon enough for us.
How much of that hunger was fueled by the West Final? Obviously, in Rider Nation, there's a very different perspective as to how that game ended. How much has that driven you this offseason?
Yeah, it's a big part of it. Obviously, we felt we were right there in the West Final, and obviously we didn't make enough plays to be able to win it. But we know that we're capable of being right there and win the whole thing. So we're working hard, and yeah, that's definitely been a motivator for us in the offseason.
Trevor Harris was able to take us through the final moments when he led that touchdown drive that ended with the score to Tommy Neild. I can't imagine the agony you must have been in those final moments. What is that like on your sideline, having to watch that?
Yeah, I mean, it was tough. Obviously, Trevor going down and leading the offense down and scoring and being methodical with their time management and not leaving us a ton of time at the same time as, that's exactly how you draw it up. That's how you talk about it. So they did a really good job there. It was tough. I mean, you feel helpless. You feel like you'd love to be able to make more plays than offense. I mean, in that fourth quarter, last couple of drives, we had a bunch of 2-and-outs. Couldn't move the football. Props to the defense. Credit where credit is due. We were making enough plays, and it's tough. We always talk about it as an offense trying to end the game on the field, and we didn't do that. And so we got to make some more plays, and certainly a very bittersweet feeling when we're looking at 2026 just because of that, or sorry, 2025 just because of that season and that game.
Nathan, you have come out as wanting to play for Team Canada in the Olympics for flag football. Tell me the process you went through in your head to get to this point, and kind of the conversations you maybe had with family and friends to get there.
Well, I mean, it certainly is an opportunity that I'd not want to pass up if it ever comes across. I think certainly there's no spots that is reserved for me in any type of way, just like there isn't for any other player. But I would love to be considered, and I think that's what I've made clear by trying to make an effort to learn a little bit more about the fives game and trying to understand it a little bit better and connect with those people who are the decision makers and all that kind of stuff. So, I think that it's not necessarily a 1-to-1 ratio in terms of tackle football to flag football, and so I think that just going in with that type of mindset is a positive thing. And obviously, we're a couple of years away still, and there's a lot of things to happen. But I don't think this is a situation where you necessarily want to pass it up. So I think it deserves some further probing and looking into, and that's what I'm going to do.
What was your first thing you noticed as a difference between the two games? Because they're not as similar as lots of people might think. They're very, very different. What were your first thoughts about the differences between flag and tackle?
I think that the biggest one, just particularly for the fives, is that how small the field is. And because it's so small, things happen a lot faster and the windows are a lot smaller. It's a bit like playing arena league dimensions. But that rusher really comes in really quick. He's only at 7 yards, and the biggest thing as a quarterback that I've noticed is that the snap difference, the shotgun distance is quite deep. Sometimes you're at 11 yards, and obviously in tackle you're really never further back than 5. So the ball's in the air for a long time. You got to find the ball, get ready to get rid of it really quick, or that rusher is going to be on top of you. So that's been the main differences so far.
When I look at Nathan Rourke, and if I was going ahead and doing an abilities checklist, boy, there would be a lot of check marks on that page with the talent that you have and what you can bring to the flag football game. What excites you about that, and why do you feel that you'll be successful?
Well, I don't I don't necessarily think that it's going to be I'm going to be successful. I think you look at the football fanatics, or the little game that happened with Tom Brady and some of the NFL pros against Team USA, and Team USA kind of kicked their butts, just because they've dedicated more time to the flag game. And there's not necessarily, just because you're good at tackle doesn't mean that you're good at the flag game. So I don't know if I'm going to be able to be as good as some of the guys that we have right now, but as a kid, when you're growing up and you're dreaming about playing football for a living, like I did, you never really pictured the Olympics being in that mix. And now that it is, it just allows you to just kind of dream and being an Olympian and being in LA and possibly representing your country. And I think that's something really interesting, and I want to continue to explore that. And same time, right? Like, I don't think anything's going to be given to me. I want to be able to prove and earn my spot. And that's going to take a lot of work and effort to do that. And just starting to take the steps right now to do so.
So we can now check off the modesty box on that clipboard, because that was very well said and maybe underrated and stated on your part. Nathan Rourke is the reigning most outstanding player in the Canadian Football League, joining us on the Western Pizza guest hotline. I'm curious how the conversation went with your employer, because from the outside looking in, Buck Pierce, Ryan Rigmaiden, Omar Dordan, the entire BC Lions organization, very much a progressive organization. What was the conversation like that you must have had with them to say, hey, I'd like to give this thing a shot?
Honestly, it's funny because I'm not the first person to ask. It wasn't that dramatic or formal. It was just them kind of saying, hey, like, this is something that was brought up at the league meetings back in January or February of this year. We want you to know that if you go ahead and you try to pursue this, that we're behind you 100%. And obviously, yeah, it's a huge get to have from your organization, but I think they also realize how cool and special it would be to be in the Olympics, and how it only comes every 4 years, and flag football may or may not be in the Olympics in 2032, and so I think everyone understands that, and so I was never where I had to go and ask them or beg them to let me go and try it. They gave me the green light, and there's obviously things that we have to work out from an injury perspective, and a liability kind of thing. But for me, it's like, all right, well, now I kind of owe it to myself to try to do my due diligence.
So a couple of true or false questions for you. There's rumor and word circulating that you'll perhaps be playing in an adult league that could start as early as this weekend. Are you able to confirm or deny that's going to happen in Cloverdale?
Yeah, I can confirm. Yeah, I'm playing on Sunday. I'm playing with some buddies of mine that's been bugging me ever since I started playing, and we throw the football, my training sessions and stuff like that. And they were bugging me to go out on the weekends, and I never really saw. But obviously now I want to get used to the game, and this is a great chance to play against some good players and kind of get a feel for what the speed might be and what the rules are and how the games flow and what plays and all that kind of stuff.
So then the second true or false follow-up, or confirm or deny, if you will, is it still true that the new guy has to bring the post-game pops?
I don't know about that rule, but I guess I'll find out.
Well, I was told it was true.
And are there any tickets still available to this game?
Probably. Yeah, probably there will be.
Okay, awesome.
Nathan Rourke is the reigning most outstanding player in the Canadian Football League and the most outstanding Canadian as well after a heck of a 2025 campaign. As we look ahead and maybe turn the page looking towards 2026, I know as an observer and lover of the Canadian game, I'm really excited that you've got a second consecutive season with the same offensive coordinator. How big is that for you?
Yeah, it's huge. I mean, I think last year we kind of showed it. When you get a new coordinator, you really take some time for not only for the players to learn the playbook, but for the coaches and the coordinator to learn the players and what they're good at. And there was some growing pains and some kinks that we had to work out as the season progressed. But at the end of the season there, we really felt like we knew who we were as a team and what our identity was, and we're really excited about the possibility of just kind of picking up where we left off and continue to build on things that are some of our strengths, but and continue to work on our weaknesses. And there's a lot more things that we can do in camp rather than just learning like a basic offense about where to line up, whatever our base terminology, and just kind of get to the 200 level of this offense. And so we're really excited about that continuity. Continuity is hard to find in the CFL. It seems like it's a revolving door sometimes of personnel and coaches, and we're very, very lucky to be in a situation where people want to stay and continue to build on what we've done so far.
As a person who has never graduated from the 100 level and anything, to get to that 200 level, how does that conversation need to flow between you and the offensive staff, whether it's Buck Pierce or whomever it might be, so that you can have equal amounts of input and understanding back and forth?
I think it's interesting. I think that relationship and the ability to have those conversations is extremely important. And I think that both Buck and I go into it with a kind of a mentality of we're not trying to dominate a conversation or just make sure our ideas are the ones that are being used. We go into it, what's going to be best for the BC Lions? How are we going to be able to accomplish what we want to accomplish out there? And it's very collaborative, and we look at it very objectively about what my strengths are, what we need to do, call more, call less. It's a very much a collaborative environment, and so we work together on that, and but that's, I think, one of Buck's strengths, if not his best strength, is just his openness and his willingness to listen to anyone, not just me, but anyone in the quarterback room, anyone in our offensive staff, any of our players. He wants everyone to feel like they're involved, they're contributing, and I think that's one of the things that makes him great.
How easy is it then going to be for you to pick up right where you left off then, having that in mind with you and the rest of the offensive personnel that are there's a lot of continuity there, if you will?
Yeah, we're hoping that there's not a ton of rust that we have to pick off at the beginning of the season. Like I said, there's a lot of guys who are here over the off season, and they're training together, and we're getting reps together, and we're hoping that we've got to get going. We've got your riders the first game of the season, right? So we've got to have our A game right from the beginning, with CFL, you got to. It's a long season, but every game counts, and especially games like that in the West. So hoping that we can have a productive camp and get ready to go right away.
I don't want to wish you any harm or failure, but I hope you lose that first game.
I would expect nothing less. Don't worry.
Nathan Rourke, that first game, though, is going to be here at Mosaic Stadium, as, of course, the World Cup of Soccer is going to impact your schedule in Vancouver and BC Place. Don't get me wrong. I think it's fantastic for the city, but it's also going to impose some challenges on your team. Have you already thought and put a plan into place how you're going to overcome some of those early obstacles in the season?
Yeah, I mean, it's certainly going to be interesting in a lot of different ways about, being outside of BC and kind of feeling like we're on the road for a bit. But I'm extremely excited, as are many people within the organization, the fact that we're going to be staying in BC. We're going to be playing 2 games in Kelowna. Kelowna should be absolutely beautiful that time of year. We get to be able to play in different fans who may not have the chance to be able to see us all the time and come to BC Place. And Kelowna's beautiful, and so it might feel like it's a little bit of a away game, but if we can handle those type of situations against 2 good West opponents, Edmonton and Calgary, I think that's going to speak volumes of what kind of team we are and where we're at as a team, and set us up well. So we did it in 2024 with Touchdown Pacific, which was an awesome event. It's a really fun environment for us as players, very college type feel, and we're expecting something similar to that. So we're looking forward to it.
Couple more questions before I turn. I did ask through my social media if any fans had questions, and there was one common theme, and I'll ask it last, so just in case. You never know. But number one, new training facility in BC. What does that mean to the Lions?
Yeah, we're excited about that. We're really excited that our owner, Mr. Doman, is willing to put money and invest into our practice facilities. I mean, I don't think necessarily, looks are everything when it comes to that type of thing. When it has a use and it fits its use, I think that's important. But he cares about the brand. He cares about the opportunity to be able to bring in new players and make this a place where people want to come. I think that's a part of that. And so we're very much looking forward to it. We're excited again for the opportunity to play for an owner who's invested in the team and wants to see it grow and expand. And I think that's can't wait to see what it looks like when it's done.
Awesome.
I really like Nathan Rourke because he just said that looks don't matter, and so I feel much better about myself in that. But in all seriousness, following social media, the amount that you are giving back to the community in the province of British Columbia is phenomenal. What does it mean to you to be out in the community? I see you talking with various groups, a lot of young people. Like, that's got to be... I just couldn't imagine being in your shoes, what that's like to be able to have that type of influence on young people.
Yeah, it's an absolute privilege and an honor to be able to represent the Lions, but also to represent the CFL in a lot of ways. There's a unique thing that happens when you're a professional athlete is that you have a little bit of a platform. Obviously, it's the CFL, and it's not the biggest league in the world, but we do have a voice, and I think I owe it to the people who I get to see and I come across in the community or in schools or whatever it might be, fans all the way across Canada. To be able to use that in a positive way. We have a ton of, things that happen in the media and athletes in all leagues. get themselves into trouble and set a poor example. And I think we ought to be able to understand the privilege that we have and the platform that we have, and be able to use it for good, and be able to inspire the next generation the best we can, and just kind of set good examples of what men could be and should be, and with the way that we treat each other with respect and all that different type of stuff. So it's been fun, man. I like off seasons in the CFL because we get to do a lot of different things. We get to really be invested in the community and be kind of just kind of like really into the community. Like, you're not in the CFL. I find that you're not on a pedestal at all. You're just a part of the community, and that's been really fun for me.
That goes back to you got to buy the drinks in for the flag football team for the game on the weekend.
Exactly.
Yeah, that's right. Yeah.
Exactly. I think I'm finding out my answer right here.
Okay. We got a minute left, or less than that. So, Nathan Rourke, I did ask Rider Nation if there's anything they wanted me to ask. Do you want to guess the question they wanted to know?
It's something they want to know what time it is or something like that.
That's not a bad answer. That actually truly is not a bad answer, because having a wife that's born and bred in BC, it's a constant conversation in our home. But I hate asking this, but they wanted me to ask you, how's Curtis doing?
Yeah. That's not what I was thinking at all. But Curtis is doing really well. I think he's very, very excited about this upcoming year. I mean, his first year in the NFL was really more of a redshirt year. They didn't really allow him to do too much after he was coming off the ACL injury in college. They want to give him a shot, which is great. But he'll have an opportunity to compete and hopefully be on the roster this year. And I think, as a draft pick, he's got I think they're invested in him, and they see a future with him. And I think he's in a really good spot in an organization that doesn't have a lot of turnover with their coaches, which is always difficult. In pro sports, you're trying to go against, and he's having a really good time down there. And I think it's going to be good. I think it's always good to have like a plan B, right? To be able to have something to fall back on. But I think for all of our sakes, we hope that he doesn't end up, dyeing the green and white anytime soon.
Well, Nathan Rourke, it is now currently 6:24 in Newfoundland, 3:54 in Saskatchewan, and 2:54 in BC, if my time is right. I'm just showing off for a certain someone.
You're right. Yeah, you're right. You're bang on. Yeah.
The bottom line is we can't thank you enough for your time. Wish you the best the rest of this off season, and we look forward to seeing you on the field, except for game 1 of the season.
Sounds good. Thanks, guys.
Thank you.
Nathan Rourke, the reigning most outstanding player and most outstanding Canadian in the Canadian Football League, joining us on the Western Pizza Guest Hotline. Let's take a break. Come back with your ticker in just a moment. This is the Sports Cage, streaming at sportscage.com and on 620 CKRM. Alrighty, tough day today at the Canadian Mixed Doubles Curling Championship for Saskatchewan's Nancy Martin and Ryland Kleider. They've fallen 10-2 to Serena Gray Withers and Victor Pietrangelo. They are out after the qualifying round in the championship. The action continues in Surrey, BC all weekend long. On the ice tonight, Qu'Appelle Valley Highway Hockey League Junior C Final. Emerald Park Wizards at the Regina River Rats. 7:30 puck drop. Best of 5 series is tied 1-1. Saskatchewan Female Hockey League Under 18 AA Championship Final. Thanks for the call in on this one. The Regina Rebels are at the Prince Albert Foxes tonight. 7:30 is puck drop, game 1 of the best of 3. In the National Hockey League tonight, Canadian teams in action include Montreal home to Columbus. Pittsburgh is at Ottawa. Winnipeg welcomes the Colorado Avalanche. Anaheim is in Calgary. Edmonton is in Vegas to roll the dice against the Golden Knights, while Vancouver is ready to lose to the Los Angeles Kings. I'm a Canucks fan. And that is your Sports Cage ticker, brought to you by Reliance Group of Companies. Coming on the other side, we are going to go and talk some baseball. Arash Madani will join us. It's the Sports Cage, streaming at sportscage.com and on your radio at 620 CKRM. Dave and Sharky filling in for Barney on the Western Pizza Guest Hotline. And the Sports Cage show. Sorry, Colson. I was thinking in my mind, how bad is it that they have to send 2 guys in to do the job of 1?
It's more of an improvement.
Oh, is that what it is?
Yeah, it's an improvement. Yeah, they've recognized that maybe this wasn't working out. Yeah.
Not the rumor mill has started. Perfect.
Yeah. Sorry, Barney.
Yeah.
By the way, Dave.
Yes.
On Thursdays, Sharky's for Flooring Superstores.
Oh, right. We forgot about Flooring Superstore.
I was thinking it.
Sharky?
Doesn't that matter? Does that matter? Does that count?
No, it doesn't count.
Thinking it doesn't count. Has to be allowed.
Cash carry prices, they can install if you don't want to do it yourself. I didn't want to do it, so I brought them in. It was fantastic. Love the product they got. Go see them. Park Street and Arcola.
Well done.
Yeah.
You're hired.
Yeah. Well, the guy I'm replacing wasn't that good, so I wasn't much of an upgrade.
SportsCage brought to you by Access Communications today, right? Trusted in rural Saskatchewan for internet, TV, and home security. There we go. We're hammering this thing down. Lots to get to today. If you missed Nathan Rourke, of course, you can find the podcast at sportscage.com. We're going to talk with Team Matt Dunstone coming up a little bit later on. Suits will join us, your SJHL report, but first it's time to head out on the Western Pizza guest hotline. I'm ready now. Here we go, Colson.
It's time to go coast to coast with Arash Madani for Smart Investing Solutions. Be smart with your money. Call Brian Gawley at Smart Investing Solutions, 546-2533.
Arash Madani joining us on this Thursday, opening day in Major League Baseball. Happy opening day, my friend.
Happy opening day to all of you. Sharky, there we go. Sharky, yeah. I didn't know you could get hired. Congratulations.
Thank you. I'm pretty thrilled. Yeah, fill in for Barney. What an upgrade.
Like to thank the Academy.
Yeah. Thank the guy outside doing meth. Yeah.
You realize you're both getting me in trouble, right? Like, come on.
Whatever.
Let's be friends here.
He's pretty thick-skinned. He'll be fine. Yeah.
Really? Barney?
Yeah, we'll buy him a beer.
You would not expect anything else.
Yes, that's right.
Okay.
Yeah.
Yes.
Fair enough. It is opening day in Major League Baseball, and Arash, you know this. Your storytelling and everything that you did over the years with the Toronto Blue Jays I found sensational all the way. What does opening day mean to you?
I read a line, and I think opening day can get a little hokey and it can get a little hyperbolic and all those things. I saw a great line once. Opening day is when time begins. And it almost feels that way, like it's the start of, well, at some point winter is going to end, presumably. But it's the beginning, a new, fresh start, all those things. And look, 30 teams in baseball, 15 don't have a chance. But out of nowhere, 5 who we probably don't even have on our radars could make a run. And the thing about baseball is that it's every day. Baseball, you come home, you know it's on. You're getting dinner ready. It's a weekend on the couch. You're out at the lake. It's just there with you all the time. It's your trusted companion. And it's almost like a soap opera that you can go 1, 2, even 3 weeks without, and you can catch up within a day and a half.
Yep, like that.
There might be a few new characters you're not quite familiar with, but, last year Dan and Buck, this year Dan and Joe, they'll let you know who they all are, and you'll catch right back up with what's happening.
So do you remember the conversation we had last year, opening day, on this program?
I do.
You and I.
Yes, I do. After Baltimore won, 13-3 or something crazy?
It's over. It's over. Shut it down. Sell them all. They're gone. They're done. It just tells me all the prognostications that are out there are worthless.
Yeah, and the old manager, Sparky Anderson, had a great line. He said, look, end of May, just be 500 and then be healthy, and then that's when the season really starts. The first 60 games, whatever. You get through it. Some of your Rule 5 guys that you brought along at the start of the season that broke camp, leaving spring training. Some young guys you wanted to take a look at. Some pitchers are trying to figure things out. You're going through the cold month of April. There were some days in those camera wells beside the dugouts, guys, it was cold and wet and windy and nasty. You just get through that, be healthy, be 500, stay in the fight. And then it starts. And then it really starts. They're called the boys of summer for a reason. And so nothing's going to get decided in the first couple of months of the season. Matter of fact, May 1st of last year, there was just as good a shot that Ross Atkins and John Schneider would have been fired then. And now in the last week, one dude signed an extension through 2028 and the other one, or 2029, the other one signed a 5-year deal. So it's amazing how things can change.
Winning solves a lot of problems.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah.
See, but okay, you brought it up first, right? We were we weren't really positive that Ross Atkins should be retained by the Toronto Blue Jays at one point last season. Are you surprised that their two contracts aren't linked? Because isn't that usually what you do, GM and manager together?
It's a really interesting one. So Mark Shapiro signed a 5-year contract extension that takes him through 2030. Atkins 31. So this is Mark doing his buddy a favor, saying, hey, you get an extra year in case I'm not around to figure things out. The manager's the interesting one. A 2-year extension after getting a team to the World Series. Now, is that a bet on myself contract? The 2 years is interesting because there's a really good chance we won't be playing baseball next year. The CBA is up at the end of this year. A work stoppage is happening. The question is for just how long. So do you then come out of the work stoppage and redo your deal? That could possibly be a thing too.
Do you think if there is a work stoppage that the common fan will, like at some point, the common fan's got to be unhappy with millionaires arguing over billions. You know what I mean? The guy that's shelling out for tickets of popcorn.
So here's what's interesting about baseball, and I think it's the sport that's the most like this. It's the most regional sport of all. Now, every sport but the NFL is regional. And here's what I mean by that. Like, you ask people, are you baseball fans? They're like, I watch the Jays.
Okay. Yeah.
If I were to say to both of you, hey, guys, I'm coming to town Sunday night, Baltimore's playing KC, Mahomes, Lamar, you guys want to get together, Western Pizza, let's watch the game. You're like, box office.
Yeah.
If I texted you and I said, hey guys, I'm coming to town, I'm going to wait for Sharky to finish that coffee before I finish.
Before I spit it out, yeah.
Yeah. Hey, I'm coming to town. You want to get together for the Orioles and the Royals?
Maybe
You'd
not so much.
probably ask me what was in my cup, right? It's so interesting. NFL market size doesn't matter. If Buffalo is playing Jacksonville, that is must-watch TV. That could be for, a home playoff game or something. Whereas not in the NBA, maybe in the NHL in Canada, that would be significant when it's a Canadian team. But we're not watching all USA matchups unless like Sid's on the precipice of a major milestone.
Yeah.
No one's getting together to watch the Panthers and the Kings, even though Florida's the defending Stanley Cup champions. So baseball is so regional. You follow your team, which is usually tied to the market you're in, and that's really about it.
I never thought of it like that. But when you say it, it's totally true. Like you say, I wouldn't watch the Orioles play the Royals.
I did the 2019 World Series, the Washington Nationals, Houston Astros. That went 7 games. The Nationals were a great story. 12 games below 500 in late May. They come back. They end up winning it all. But Game 7 of the World Series that year, that night, up against nothing. There was no hoops. There was no pucks. It was one of those weird quirks in the schedule. Both leagues were just getting started. It did not generate 1 million viewers.
Wow.
Last year's Game 7, Dodgers-Jays in Canada, did 12.
Wow.
So when the team that matters is in it, it's significant. Even the Yankees and the Dodgers, the 2 biggest markets in baseball, they were in the World Series the year prior. They didn't do anywhere near what you would expect them to do. And yet, a Super Bowl rolls around, and if it is, it just wouldn't matter who's in it.
That's right.
Buffalo could be in it. Jacksonville could be in it. We're all still watching.
Yep.
Arash Madani, many of us, like myself, live vicariously through you during your days with the Toronto Blue Jays and the broadcast team and crew there. When you were out on the road, where was your favorite place to broadcast from? Now, again, right, a lot of us, let's say Fenway Park or Yankee Stadium. But again, sometimes those aren't the most glamorous places to broadcast a game from. Where did you like going and where did you have the best access?
There were a few places that were great. I know this is going to sound bizarre. I love the Trop. Because there are a few things about the Trop. One, there's a roof, which means no rain delays, which means air conditioned for a small, trim man like myself in August in Florida. I quite appreciated that. The other is, I'm looking into the dugout. I can see and hear everything that's happening in the first half of that dugout. So you get such a real insight into what's happening there. Another one that was great is Pittsburgh. Pittsburgh might be my favorite ballpark, period. You look out, it's bridges, it's water. Again, the camera well, you're basically sitting in the dugout there, and it's got the closest sight line to both home plate and the pitcher's mound. And nobody goes to games in Pittsburgh, so you could literally hear the conversation between George Springer and the first base coach. So that was a good one. And I just really like Dodger Stadium, man. Dodger Stadium. There's so many Octobers I spent there, and that place is so old and so kind of whatever that in the visitors area, you're literally in the dugout. So it's not just that you're seeing and hearing things. When John Gibbons was the manager, when Charlie Montoyo was the manager, I remember Montoyo made a weird pitching change at some point. He's coming off, and I just look at him like he's coming down the stairs. If he took 2 steps to his left, he'd be at his perch. If he took 2 steps to his right, he'd be at my perch. I just looked at him with shrugged my shoulders, and he said, who was it? Oh, God, Jacob Wagaspak. I'm like, what's the deal? And he said, Wagaspak is cramping. I'm like, oh, okay. So then you can pass that along. Because a lot of people on Twitter are losing their minds. What are they doing? What are they thinking? The guy's rolling. Well, he started to cramp in the dead heat of Southern California sun.
Good feedback. Yeah. Really good feedback. Yeah.
You mentioned, okay, so this is the opening day is the start of the 162 game grind. Whether that's too much, too little, that's for baseball people to figure out. But early in my career, I was afforded an opportunity, and I don't know why I was ever granted it, to talk to Tom Cheek and interview Tom Cheek. I had 14 minutes. I don't know why I couldn't get 15, but I was given 14 minutes, and it was the most gracious ever. The gentleman, absolutely everything I've heard about him was sensational in those 14 minutes to a young broadcaster, and he talked about his day, and I'll never forget how he prepared for a game, and he said, I just do the same thing each and every day, and just went through it over and over and over and over again 162 times. For a baseball player, right, you're paid millions of dollars, so there's not a lot of empathy whether you're at the ballpark for 20 hours a day or 2. But what does a typical day look like for a ball player?
So the best guys will tell, well, most guys have a routine, but the best guys have what they call their best routine. When the Texas Rangers won the World Series, whatever it was, 3 years ago, somebody asked Corey Seager, he'd come over from the Dodgers, hey, you just having a great year. He's like, I really firmed up my routine for what works for me. And what they mean by their routine is it is literally regimented from the time they arrive. They're arriving at the same time every day, unless there's an extra injury or some extra things they want to do. Some dudes will show up noon, 1, 2 o'clock for a 7 o'clock game. Especially when you're in the heart of a pennant race, you always know when a team's out of it because dudes are straggling in around 3:30 or 4 in the afternoon. But it's, okay, I'm going to get dressed out of my street clothes into my baseball clothes. And then what is it going to be? Is it activation, hot tub, treatment? I'm going to eat. I'm going to stretch. I'm going to watch video. I'm going to get into the cage. I'm going to do all that before I even come out and see the field. And they go through a routine. Look, some guys even put 10, 12 minutes of their routine to play cards in the clubhouse with their teammates, because being a teammate is important in all this. Getting a break from going through the monotony of all of it, sitting there watching film on that day's pitcher, going over the scouting report. And it's amazing how quickly 3.5 or 4 hours will fly by for some of these guys with all the different things that they would do. And me being around it, I'd get to know how some guys operate. Some are laser focused. Some are not. Some have a little more flexibility. Some don't. Some would be, hey, get me really early. Some would say, hey, get me after BP when we're done. So then for a home game, you arrive at whatever, 1 or 2 in the afternoon. At 4:45, you'd come out for a team stretch, and then guys would throw. Then you'd come and take batting practice. Now, for batting practice, if you were in the starting lineup that day, you hit first. If you weren't, you'd go take ground balls. And then if you were in the starting lineup, the backups would then hit next, and then you go hit ground balls. So some guys would say, hey, if you want to interview me, let's do it before stretch. Some would say after BP when I'm all done, because I'm just going back in to shower, eat, and go over a scouting report and watch a little more video or something like that before a game. But it's every day. Now, there are some Sundays where they call them show and goes. Guys show up at 11 o'clock in the morning for a 1 o'clock game. Okay, show up,
let's go. Yeah.
A couple of Advils after the extra glass of wine last night and a hot shower, let's go. And then there's your getaway games. It's a 4-game series on the road. Monday to Wednesday's a night game. The Thursday noon, 1 o'clock start. You always knew they'd be quick ones because the umpires had a 6 o'clock flight out and they're playing commercial. So any pitch close. I tell you, the ABS, the automatic reviews, is going to make a real issue for some of these umpires trying to catch flights getting out of town to get to the next city, because it can't be, wow, that was 6 inches off the plate. Yeah, but we're calling that a strike both ways.
I got to go. I can't stay any longer. I got to go.
How do you see that review working this year in MLB?
So I think it's going to be fine. I think it's going to be good. I think it's going to take a little while for people to figure out when to use it. Does it make sense to use it in the first or second inning with nobody on base, or do you just kind of eat it and save it? And I mean this sincerely, guys, like, we now live in such a let's consume things quickly society on our phones. I think it's going to lead to way fewer manager, umpire arguments, ejections, great viral moments of you blah 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 and F you blah blah blah, and like in each other's face. Now there's like next to nothing to argue about. If you can't argue balls and strikes, if you can't argue if he's safe or if he's out, what's left to really, they'll find things to be mad about, don't get me wrong, but
yeah.
We're reducing
or
that
to comment on. Yeah.
Sitting where you sat beside the dugouts, I can only imagine that being awkward, right? When they're going at it on the field and then the manager has to walk by you to get down the tunnel to the clubhouse. I can't imagine that being much fun.
We were in Baltimore one night, 2022 season. Schneider had taken over for Charlie Montoyo mid-season, and it was his first ejection. It happened after the benches cleared and there was a fight, and then they tossed Teoscar or something like that, even though Teoscar's uniform got ripped. And when they did that, Schneider went out and just like thundering away into the umpire's face. So I'm there with my phone just recording it. So he goes down, and I wait like 10 minutes, and I sent him the video and text, and I said, "For your files, the first of many." And he responded with a photo, not a video, a photo of basically his desk in the visitors clubhouse in Baltimore with a beer can and the TV watching the rest of the game. And he said, LOL, thanks.
Yeah. Those happen sometimes. You got to take your lumps, you move on. Yeah.
That's it.
Yeah.
It is the 50th season for the Toronto Blue Jays this year.
Wow.
We saw a little bit of video, and we'll show it. It's pretty, I think it's kind of remarkable what the Jays are doing to honor their longtime season ticket holders with putting their names and displaying like the folks that have been around for all 50 years, and then like even the current season ticket members. Like, that's pretty remarkable since 1977.
The fact that they're still alive, I mean, that in itself is amazing.
I'm told the list is around 400 that have been in for all 50 years.
Wow.
That's incredible.
Yeah.
So Dan Shulman posted a picture of the 1977 schedule and, month by month in the grid, and such a throwback. Like middle of the week out of nowhere, double headers in the middle of May. But at the bottom was the sponsor logo, which was a tobacco company. And I'm like, oh my gosh, I forgot about that.
How things have changed.
Things have changed.
Yeah, you can't put DeMaurier on the bottom of your schedule anymore. Yeah.
See, and so let's throw out a number, if you want, of the people that have been a day one season ticket holder. How many do you think bring their own scorebooks to the game?
Oh,
Ooh, that's a very good one.
Over 60%? Over 70%?
No, I'd say half now.
Half?
Now. I one of the shames is, and Dave, you'll especially appreciate this as a play-by-play guy, is that it's hard now to listen to the game, listen to the radio call while you're at the ballpark. Like, it's not the old days of a walk anymore.
Yeah.
Even if you listen on the app, it's on a delay.
Yeah.
So the count, you're sitting in the stadium, it's 2-2 with 2 outs, and then you're listening on the app, and it's like, all right, leadoff man aboard here, and you're just like, oh, man. So there's some places that are actually trying to mitigate that, to kind of bring back that stadium experience. So we'll see if that happens.
I think that's fantastic, because I can be outside working in the yard with the radio on, listening to Dave, and then when something happens, I can run inside and watch it.
There you
I
go.
get to listen to Dave all day till something good pops up.
One of my favorite moments from a Jays game was an older couple. We had dished out for some pretty good tickets, so we were sitting in amongst season ticket holders, right?
Nice.
And so you could tell the older gentleman was really excited about his scorecard and keeping it going. But the lady who he anticipated was probably his better half was trying to show him on the phone how you could use the app to do the scorecard.
And he didn't want anything to do with it.
After the third inning, the phone goes flying down towards the dugout. And I was like, okay, that's not so good.
We got a domestic.
The other thing about baseball that's wild is late August. You look around and you talk about the scorecard. Some people are keeping score. Some people are doing a crossword. Some people might be having a nap in the seats. And you fast forward 1 month to the end of September, the beginning of October, and every pitch matters. And the angst and the tension and just how engaged everybody is on every little detail for 3 straight hours. It's just amazing how it goes from all of that to all of this so
That's
quickly.
Right. Goes from a nap, beer, and a popcorn to paying attention like it's your life depends on it. Yeah.
Totally.
Yeah.
Okay, last one I've got to ask, and it was Ross Atkins that said it, and I don't know whether he kept a straight face or not, because I've been the Debbie Downer on Blue Jays this year, but the Toronto Blue Jays starting day roster is better than a year ago. True or false?
Their opening day roster is better. Yeah, sure.
David Schneider's on it. You know that, right?
Yeah, it's kind of the same. And it would be better if it weren't for the injuries to the pitching staff. But the fact that Barrios, Bieber, and Savage are all starting on the injured list is a factor in all of it. I just think the guys are just a little more seasoned, a little more experienced. There's a third baseman that's come over from Japan that I think is going to be a real fan favorite, a crowd favorite. And I mentioned this to Barney on Tuesday, guys. The guy to watch this season and see how he's managed is George Springer, because they kept him together last year with bubble wrap and duct tape and bubble gum and all those things. He played the entire postseason banged up. He turns 37 this year. There's a lot of miles on that body. He's a big part to making them go. And so, when you lose Bichette and now Springer's a little longer in the tooth, those things are things to look at, but you got 162 of them.
Don't base anything on the first result. I'll tell you that right now. You would make a mistake. Yeah. Let him play till the end of May.
Schneider is on the roster. I'm sorry.
Got one of the best stashes
But I
in the
believe
game.
he was on the opening day roster last year, too. Then they sent him down, then they brought him back up.
Well, yeah, exactly, right? He had a couch. Barger needed it. Like, I don't know. Like, just disappointment. Disappointment.
I don't know why that's so hard on you.
Dave, it's March 26th. You can't be disappointed in your baseball team right
lots
now.
to go yet.
There's
Lots to go yet.
Miles to go, marathons to go before we sleep.
Yeah.
Davis Schneider is on the roster. Come on.
Look, this is the other one. This is the one that the one thing that can't happen for this team this year is they can't lose Alejandro Kirk for a significant period of time.
Mm-hmm.
Because Tyler Heineman's the backup and Robert Jamont's the next man up.
I can't throw a fit. You can't have me play.
Yeah. And so, look, I get you now have pitchers calling their own games and blah, 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 but Kirk is such a huge part to all of this. That is, to me, the number one thing. Like, they've not lost. They won't have 3 starting pitchers to start the season. To me, Alejandro Kirk is more, because of the depth they have in their starting pitching staff, is a bigger piece than all of them combined.
I completely agree with that. And I look at the minor league roster and I get a little scared at the catching depth on this team. And you're going to think I'm kidding, but I'm honestly not. I would think that if something happened to Heineman or Kirk, would you actually seriously consider putting Varsho back there? Like, just with what you've got in the organization? I know that's probably ridiculous.
Yeah, so I don't know if you guys remember Will Wagner. He was an infielder the Jays had last year. They traded him to the Padres. For Wagner, they got a kid by the name of Brandon Venezuela. Sorry, let me take 2 and 5, 4. Brandon Valenzuela. I've been watching too much news lately.
Yeah.
Valenzuela was AA and AAA last year, and he had a really good spring. And so could that be a bat that he's, a pitcher. He actually got a bunch of reps when Alejandro Kirk was at the WBC during spring training. So could that be the next man up? Would that be somebody they would look at? Because he actually hit well in spring. Just something to tuck in the back of your mind if you want to sound smart at the water cooler. Yeah. You want to sound smart with your friends about the Jays? Yeah. Valenzuela, not Venezuela. Name, not country.
My friends know I'm not smart. It's not a problem. Yeah, I don't have to work at that.
Valenzuela, one to watch.
Well, Valenzuela, the one to watch.
Well, again, they do have Davis Schneider on the roster. That's all I'm saying. Coast to Coast with Arash Madani. Thank you for doing this today, my friend. Again, we'll get back to regular programming soon, but enjoy the MLB season.
All right, boys. Great to see you.
Cheers, Arash.
Arash Madani, Coast to Coast, of course, brought to you by Smart Investing Solutions. We're going to take a break, come back, and get to our clutch performer of the day. That is next here on the Sports Cage. We're streaming at sportscage.com and on 620 CKRM. It's Thursday. It's the Sports Cage. It's Dave Thomas along with Sharky. It's all brought to you by Access Communications, trusted in rural Saskatchewan for internet, TV, and home security. The Prairie Land Rentals text line also open for you at 306-936-6262. Crofty agreeing with you, Sharky, when it comes to all-star teams in curling.
I like it.
There you go.
He's a smart man.
There's a lot of people that don't, but I'm just, just saying. It is clutch performer time on a Thursday. Crofty, you want to go first?
Sharky?
Yeah, I got the wrong E there. Holy cow.
I'll go first.
I've only been up since 4. We're good. Okay, carry on.
What do we got here? The Flin Flon Bombers sweep the Estevan Bruins. Who's the goaltender? Got a shutout.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah, where'd I go? Finn Werner. Finn Werner stopped 26-26 for the Bombers to advance, sweeping the Bruins in 4.
That's a tough haul, that series.
Oh, it's the furthest apart 2 teams can be.
Yeah. And they always seem now to meet in the opening round, right? Ever since the divisional format was scrubbed, which I agree with, but yeah.
What a trip. Oh, my goodness.
And I believe that, and again, I could be wrong, and I'm sure that the commission is going to go ahead and say, Dave, you are wrong. But I believe when they were talking about scrubbing the division and redoing the playoff format, they talked about, well, you know what? Statistically, Flin Flon Estevan doesn't happen that often.
Never happened. Why would we worry about that?
And now here we go.
It happens all the time now. Yeah. But, Finn Werner. And I'd like to know how you got that name.
Finn?
That's a good handle.
Is it short for something?
I don't know.
Finley.
Finnegan?
No, it's got 2 N's.
Maybe it's just Finn.
Could be.
Good
It's an
name,
interesting
either
name.
way.
Yeah.
All right.
He's my man. 26 of 26 for the shutout.
All right. Colson?
I'll give mine to the U18 AAA Battleford Sharks.
Good call.
Yeah. North Battleford or just Battleford?
Battlefords.
Battlefords.
Yeah.
Yeah, they brought home the women's banner, so good job, girls. And then I feel like we also got a gimme, giving one to Corey Mace and the Sask Rough Riders football operations staff, bringing home both awards last night.
Absolutely.
Absolutely. Nicely done.
Piggybacks right where I'm going with the entire football operations department. You don't see them often, right? Jeremy O'Day, the vice president of football operations and general manager, you do. But, boy, he's got some great support. And Paul Jones, Kyle Carson, Jordan Greenlee, Larry Dean. The Ted Gavea Award went to them last night for the excellence that they had in basically developing a football program.
Building a franchise.
Yeah. And we talked about it off the hop, right? What is the biggest accomplishment for Jeremy O'Day? Obviously winning a Grey Cup. But I think that a lot has to go to the draft picks that you have. You live and die with your Canadian draft picks in the CFL, right?
Without a doubt. You can't just go buy them in free agency. You can't do what everybody else is doing, sealing off the riders. You got to make sure you've got the best guys possible. I think they've got some great guys working on their draft and finding characters as well as good football players.
Isn't that important too, right?
It's very important. Yeah.
The player that I'm not going to kid you, who I think and is the CFL Combine, of course, gets going tomorrow in Edmonton for the players on the field. The one player that really impressed me. Now, again, I do have background knowledge with University of Saskatchewan Husky receiver Daniel Weeb.
Yeah.
But when he answered the interview question about his height and said, well, you've heard of Weston Dressler before. I thought that's pretty cool.
Yep.
And made him stand out. And I'm really curious to see how it's going to shake down with him at camp this year.
No, I'm looking forward to, again, some good draft picks, some good young guys coming in, challenging for spots, making some tough decisions for the coaches. Weeb's one of them. I think we're going to see a couple on defense that are coming in.
Mm-hmm.
We're going to see some guys that get a chance that maybe we didn't know about so much before, which was why A.J. Allen was maybe a little more available than other players. There's a guy behind him that they think's ready to step in. So, yeah, I think we're going to see the benefit of the rider coaching and recruiting team.
But when you have, and again, I go back to the 16 players on the roster, right? So when you look at that, think of how the CFL draft also works, right? Because you're not projecting for a guy for tomorrow, potentially, right? You could be taking a flyer on a guy that's going to try it down south before he comes back to the CFL.
Or that needs some development time, right?
Yeah.
Who's the receiver from the Rams that's playing there? Yeah, he's been in and out of the lineup.
Deshaun Mims.
There you go. Thank you. Deshaun's an example, right?
Mm-hmm.
They saw some potential in him. They knew he wasn't quite ready, but he's developing and he's building, and he's gonna be a starter in a couple of years.
Yeah.
Yep.
It's going to be very interesting. So anyways, go ahead, Colson. Sorry.
Are we done, Clutch Performer?
Well, I was just going to read the tag, get paid.
I figure we should also mention then Declan Larmer keeping the series going for the AAA Moose Jaw Warriors. So
Okay.
yeah, I got the call here if you want.
Do it.
Our third overtime game.
Let somebody else work.
Left side, Schultz. And that's going to be poked by Brown. Brown over to Larmer. Scores! We're going to game 4! Declan Larmer is going to win it in overtime for Moose Jaw. And we're going back to the friendly city on Friday night.
That had to be the Moose Jaw call, wasn't it?
Yeah.
Okay, thank you. Yeah.
That's J.D. Houghton. We had him on before the series started, along with Arden, who is the play-by-play for the Pat Canadians.
Yeah, they do a great job, those young guys.
They do.
We didn't have those opportunities when we were younger to do something like that.
No.
Right? Nobody gave us that chance. Now it's everywhere. So good for them.
Yeah, that is a very clutch performance type play. Now, one thing that I'll draw to your attention from that, and again, I'm not being critical. The player that gave away the puck for the Pat Canadians was Maddox Schultz.
Yeah.
Now, again, I am not being critical because who in the heck am I? But this reminds me of a game earlier this season when he was playing with the Pats, and it was against the Saskatoon Blades, and the Blades scored the overtime winner as he kind of let his guy get away from him in his zone. He's 15 years old, matched up against a 19-year-old. That's a little bit of a mismatch. But then Maddox Schultz went on to score 5 goals in the next 2 games. So I'm just throwing it out there that the kid knows how to recover from a mistake.
How to cover his mistakes and make them not appear so big.
That's right. And again, if you're the coach and you see the play, he's kind of twisting towards the boards at the end of it. And again, I think that's a high percentage play that he's making, but it was a great interception or a great takeaway, if you will, from the Warriors.
It's a great takeaway because he's protecting the puck, trying to move to an open spot. But give the kid credit for knocking it away and creating the 2-on-1.
There you go. Yep. Clutch performer for Count Solar. You know they can help with your livestock opportunity, but now book your solar quotes for your home, farm, or cabin. Save money with the local company, Count Solar in Lumsden. All right, SportsCage ticker time, gentlemen. It's brought to... What's that? Sprinkle. Oh,
Sprinkle?
I totally missed this in the rehearsal this morning. Like,
there's a rehearsal?
That's my point exactly. Sprinkle of the day for Sports Select. Get in on more of the sports action you want. It's as easy as playing at sportselect.com. Simply make your picks online, generate your QR code, lock in your bet at your local lotto spot retailer. Must be 18 plus to play. Do so responsibly.
What do we get for NASCAR? Oh,
NASCAR, okay.
Because we're going to do that report soon. I want to know what we got for NASCAR for numbers.
Oh, boy, I would really like to know because my pool, it is not good.
It's, you know what? It's not easy. I started at the bottom for the first year or two.
See, the problem is I just don't believe what I see. You know what I mean? I'm like, that is fluke. That's not going to happen again. And that's the problem is I don't believe.
So in NASCAR, like like Arash talked about baseball, 15 teams are out.
Yeah.
Well, in NASCAR, that's sort of similar. 15 drivers are out of the mix. Like, don't even look at them, right?
True.
So work on that other half, right?
We got futures here.
All right.
Go straight for the champion or...
Let's go to the Cookout 400 on Sunday.
All right. Which one do you want? Top driver or winner?
Go winner.
Oh, Blaney's at 5.
Ryan Blaney and then Denny Hamlin, William Byron, Kyle Larson.
Yeah, see, my money's further down the mix. Keep going.
Where are you going to go? How far are you going to go down as we scroll down at Sports Select?
I'd go to Ryan Preece at 21. That's where I'd go. I think Ryan Preece, he's run really well lately. A nice little $5 bet would turn out there. Yeah. I think Ryan or Carson Hocevar is another guy that I think's got some skin in the game here. I don't think it's the big guys this week. I think the rubbing is going to give the young guys a chance to come through.
See, the problem is I always love, again, maybe it's bias. Kyle Busch has always been my driver.
He's been absolutely terrible.
I know. It's brutal. He's like, it's not even good. It's
garbage.
Brutal. Yeah.
Garbage.
Like, he's worse than Davis Schneider.
Yeah, and way worse than Davis Schneider.
And, yeah. Like I said, don't even listen to me.
Don't put Kyle Busch on your sheet. Like, run it past me first if that's what you're doing. Like, yeah, don't do that.
No. Back in my heyday, AJ Allmendinger was the guy, but that's
AJ's good on the road course.
Yeah, that's not so much on the short oval.
Yeah, He's good on the road course. Yeah,
there we go.
Yep.
Sprinkle of the day brought to you by Sports Select. We're going to take a break. We do have to get to the sports ticker before 5. I promise that. But we do need the expertise and the outdoor ability of Sharky to help us settle a dispute in the Rider Football Operations Department. We will get to that coming up next. This is the SportsCage, streaming at sportscage.com and on 620 CKRM.
Nicolas Cage. Gentlemen, start your engines. Please
love that.
Wow.
Little Nick Cage to start us off. What does the 23-11 team and Tyler Reddick know that the rest of NASCAR does not? 4 wins in the first 6 races. I've tried to search for somebody that's done 4 to 6 to start the season. I can't find it.
Really?
Reddick led for 77 laps on Sunday. Only second place Brad Keselowski led more with 142. Reddick and teammate Bubba Wallace had the fastest laps on the day at 30 seconds on the nose at the 1.5 miles at
that's quick.
South Carolina. Austin Cindric picked up his first top 10 of the year, finishing 5th. He's a driver I'd watch coming forward. Larson, Logano, and Bubba Wallace all had bad days, finishing 32, 33, and 34th. This week, we move to Martinsville. Ridgeway, Virginia is home to the Cookout 400. It's a half-mile track. That's right, a half-mile long. It sets up for your classic stock car racing. With not much room to work, so let's rubbing is going to be the key. Rubbing people to get them out of the way. There's no room to pass. Look for some up-and-comers this week, including, and I talked about it earlier, Carson Hocevar, Ryan Preece, and Austin Cindric. These three have all run well this year and are moving up the standings. This could be the week they bust through. Could be. Robin is racing. It starts 1:30 Regina time. Croft Electric brings us our NASCAR report.
There you go. Crofty. 27 years of trusted, reliable home, farm, and commercial service for all electrical needs. CroftElectric.com, and, of course, on all socials. And Tyler Reddick, I just don't believe. Okay, we got to move on.
You got to believe. Keep putting them in your pool. Put Tyler in there.
That's
till he finishes out of the race. Keep him in there.
All right.
Yeah.
We need your professional advice,
okay.
Crofty. Or Croft Sharky. Sorry, man. It's just
I like to think I'm not good looking, but anyway.
Well, you are.
Yeah, carry
You're
on.
up there. Okay, so Sharky, explain this to me. This came up through social media over the weekend.
Okay.
Coach Mace doing a truly Saskatchewan ice fishing thing, which then you'll see the fish if you're watching the stream at sportscage.com.
Yeah.
Pretty good catch, right? That's a nice fish.
Yeah.
So that prompted me to ask a question because there is some controversy swirling with the Rough Rider Football Operations Department. I posed it yesterday.
All right.
To Jeremy O'Day and Corey Mace.
Now, Coach, you were our clutch performer for the fish that you caught and showed off on social media. Sources have confirmed that Jeremy O'Day actually is a pretty good fisherman too. So who is the better fisherman out on the ice between the two of you, or is it a case of who's the better at Photoshop?
Well, it's always like, what have you done for me lately? And I caught the latest fish, so.
I will point out that I think we only caught one fish that day, and technically it wasn't his line that he brought up, but he was the guy that brought it out of the water, so I guess you did catch it.
That's right.
So there is the question for you,
okay, fire away.
Is if it wasn't your line and it catches a fish, is it still your fish?
If you reeled it in, yes.
That's the rule.
That's the rule. The guy reeling it in, it's his fish.
Even though he didn't set the line or do anything.
Doesn't matter. If you step away to go to the bathroom or get a fresh refreshment and leave your line and somebody reels in your fish, it's their fish.
Wow, this sounds like a very hard, fast rule that I did not understand.
You know what? You get on a boat, you could end up in the water. If you try to claim a fish you didn't reel in, you could be swimming back to shore. The guy with the rod in his hand reeling it in, it's his fish all day long.
All right.
Yeah.
Wow.
That's about a 16-pound Great Northern Pike. It's okay.
Okay, 16 pounds. What's the biggest? I think I've caught a 15-pounder some in Nipawin.
Yeah, I've caught a lot over 25.
Yeah.
Yeah, up north, caught some big ones. Yeah, they're just big sluice sharks.
Yeah.
Right? They're just huge waste of time. Takes 20 minutes to get them landed. Just a waste of time. Yeah.
Wow.
Yeah, they're big.
Yeah.
They're big. But that's what a 16, 18-pound shark is
impressive, right? Impressive? Yeah.
Yeah, it is impressive. Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah, there's bigger ones than that. If he was out of Last Mountain, which I think is where he was,
yeah,
there's some way bigger jackfish, some northern pike out there.
How big do you think?
There's guys that have dived out there that work for the Ministry of Environment that say they're at least 3 feet plus down there.
Whoa.
Yeah.
Wow.
So the Last Mountain Lake is the end of the fishery.
Okay.
So fish swim upstream all the time.
Yeah.
Last Mountain Lake is the end of the upstream. So in Last Mountain Lake, the fisheries guys have caught catfish, they've got perch, they've got some trout, they've got walleye, sauger, they've got everything in there. Now you don't see a ton of them because there's a lot for them to get through to get to Last Mountain Lake. But anything that gets there has lived and is a big fish.
All right.
Last Mountain Lake is written up in fishing books and fishing guides all over Canada as one of the destinations to go.
I learned something new today.
Yeah, if you're passing on Last Mountain Lake for a place to catch big fish, you're missing out. There's some big fish down there.
There you go.
Yeah.
Well, I'll tell you right now, I didn't catch anything there this
Tourism
this
Saskatchewan,
winter.
I would like my my ticket, please. Yeah.
Also, Coach May's probably going to up and give you something too for that.
Well, sure.
Support.
Yeah, Coach May should know you reel it in, right?
It's yours.
Yeah.
All right.
Yep.
Words to live by on the Sports Cage. We need to take a break. Get back with your ticker in a moment. I promised it was going to come up earlier, so why don't we do it in just a minute? It's the Sports Cage, streaming at sportscage.com and on 620 CKRM. Start on the Pebble Ice, shall we? Tough afternoon for Nancy Martin and Ryland Kleider out of Martinsville. They were representing Saskatchewan at the Canadian Mixed Doubles Curling Championship. They fall 10-2 to Serena Gray Withers and Victor Pietrangelo. That means that they are out. The final score 10-2. Tough one for them all the way around as they were really pressing after getting down early. On the hockey ice tonight, Quappelle Valley Highway Hockey League Junior C League Final. Emerald Park Wizards at the Regina River Rats. First face-off there is 7:30. The best of 5 is tied 1-1. Saskatchewan Female League Under 18 AA Championship Final. The Regina Rebels are in Prince Albert to take on the Foxes at 7:30 tonight. That's the opener of their best of 3 set. While the National Hockey League Canadian teams on the go, Montreal welcomes Columbus. Ottawa is taking on Pittsburgh, looking to continue their playoff push. Winnipeg still believes they can get in the playoffs as they host Colorado tonight. That'll be short-lived. Calgary takes on Anaheim. Edmonton's in Vegas, and Vancouver welcomes the Los Angeles Kings. And that's your sports ticker. Coming up, we're going to go with press coverage and Glen Suitor plus Team Matt Dunstone before we get to 6. It's the Sports Cage, streaming at sportscage.com and on 620 CKRM. Welcome to your Thursday edition of the Sports Cage. It's Dave Thomas and Sharky, also known as Crofty in some circles. So you just ask who you want on whichever day.
He's not going to like that comparison.
I'll tell you that right now. Oh, boy. Arash Madani we've heard from. We've got to get to your SJHL report. That is coming up in a little bit. Team Matt Dunstone is standing by. We had Nathan Rourke on the program a little earlier.
Yep.
Of course, you can hear it all at sportscage.com. And if you're feeling good about yourself today, how's this for you? An 8th grader from Pittsburgh is the only perfect March Madness bracket remaining out of the millions entered into ESPN's competitive bracket competition. Let that sink in for a minute.
You think about it, that's who deserves to win. An 8th grader. Yeah. All those people that did all the work and judged all the numbers, looked at everything else, he probably picked it by logos and nicknames.
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah.
So, an 8th grader, the only one perfect. How old would you be in 8th grade? 12?
13.
13. Okay.
Yeah.
I was in grade 8 for 13 and 14, so I don't know. Leave that there.
Yeah, grade 8 was the best 3 years of my life. Yeah.
Western Pizza Guest Hotline. Let's go. It's time to hook up with Suits.
Time now for press coverage with CFL and Saskatchewan Rough Rider legend Glen Suitor on the Sports Cage. Brought to you by Freeze Tom and Lumber. Locally owned, family grown, rooted in our community for 70 years in Regina and Fort Qu'Appelle.
Glen Suitor on a Thursday afternoon. Press coverage. Good afternoon, sir. I know that you're not getting the snow that we are here in downtown Regina. But I tell you, it's ready for a storm in Edmonton as they get set for the CFL Combine this weekend. How are things, and how excited or involved do you get in the CFL Combine activities?
Well, I'm excited for the young men that are, trying to show that they should be drafted and that they can, make a roster and play professional football. I'm excited for them. That's a chance to, get out there on the field and test out, which is my least favorite part of it. And not just because, as I've mentioned many times, that I ran a 4, not in 4.2, 4.3, or 4.4, but forever. And I've used that joke 1,000 times, so people are rolling their eyes right now. But, I really do think, whether it's the NFL or the CFL, that these combines and free agent camps, I really think we should do away from the testing. I really do. And I get the idea that to run a 40, to do the bench press, the 4-cone drill, the things like that for time, and then do it again mid-season or do it again later in the year or do it again the next year to see if, you're still in shape and those kind of things. There's a little bit of an argument to be made there. But to me, a 40 is an absolute wasted first of all, it puts the athletes at risk because, you're coming out of a track stance, which even receivers don't do anymore, especially in Canadian football. I mean, have you ever seen a receiver get in a 3-point track stance or a 4-point track stance and, come off the line of scrimmage like that? Never. I mean, O-linemen running a 40, who cares? I'd rather see O-linemen in drills and see their foot speed, their strength, their ability to handle, their reach, how they're, taking care of stunts, how quickly can they move and open their hips. DB, same thing. How quickly can you backpedal, open your hips, put the brakes on, and break on a curl or a dig route. That to me is so much more important than if you ran a 4.2 and a 4.3. And as you guys know, or a 4.3 to a 4.4, the difference between a 4.3 and a 4.4 is the blink of an eye.
Yeah.
I mean, in fact, a blink is probably too long. So it's silly to me. It's something, I guess it's something that we can market, but I just don't. I don't get why we do all this testing. Like, if you do 12 reps or 15 or 20 reps at 225 on the bench, does it really matter? Can you tackle? Can you run? Can you catch the ball in traffic? Can you block at the line of scrimmage? That's what I want to know. And that's what I think, really these combines should evolve to. More football drills, less testing, and the interview process. Now, the interview process, to me, is important, not to try and trick a player or to get them, to reveal that they're these bad human beings or something, which will never happen. But it's more to get to know the kid's family, his upbringing, how he feels about, teamwork and things like that, and just some general questions with regards to how you would treat teammates, things like that. Here's a scenario. How would you handle it? I think to get to know a guy one-on-one and to meet him face-to-face is much better than just watching him on video and then determining whether or not you think he might have the character to be a pro football player. Because, as you guys know, it's so much about the shoulders up, not necessarily the shoulders down. And that's something you can get a little bit of a handle on. I mean, it's small. It's a small sample size, but when you sit face to face with somebody, you can do that in a bar with a businessman and get a sense of, can I trust this guy? You can do that much better when you're face to face.
It's interesting you brought up the interview process, because it was exactly what I was going to ask you about. Do they do it as a league? Do they do it as individual teams? Does every player go to each team? What's the process look like for those interviews?
Yeah, it's a good question. I don't know that there's sort of a written rule on it, but I'm pretty sure that each team will do their own questioning, and those teams, each team gets a chance to pick, the guys. I'm pretty sure that. Yeah, I don't know that they could do all of them. I mean, that seems pretty time-consuming to me, to do every kid in the combine. But if there's, 10, 15, 20, 25 kids that they feel like, you know what, these are young men that we need to talk to. We need to find out about them, their family, their upbringing, and a little bit about who they are. And we can do that by talking face-to-face with them. So, it's a good question. It really is, Sharky, because I'm going to look into that more as far as how exactly do they determine who they're talking to, or do they get a chance to talk to every kid? But I do know that the teams do it separately. So the team will have their coach in there, their GM, probably a position coach at times if they've made the trip, and they'll sit down and get to know the guys.
Do they ask? So you're trying to introduce yourself and find out a little bit more about this young man. I know in the NHL interview process, one of the teams, they sit down with a young guy and they say, "Tell us a joke." You have a joke? Tell us a joke. Do they try to make it that comfortable, or do these guys stick right to the rules and try to find out what's going on in his football head?
Yeah, I think most of them will understand that the young men that are sitting in that room are pretty nervous. I mean, no one wants to go into this interview room. It's kind of like a job interview. I mean, anyone who's sat in the corporate job interview and has been super nervous. I have to say the right thing. I have to say what he needs to hear. I have to say, and in fact, you could probably watch public speakers talk about what you should do in an interview, and then you get all inside your head. And you get nervous. So I think that's why the teams will try to loosen the guys up and just say, hey, don't worry, bud. Just be honest. Let's just talk. At least that's the way I would do it. I mean, we obviously aren't in the room with them, so I can't say that every time they're doing that. But I think if they see a kid nervous or a lot nervous, they're going to say, okay, don't worry. Tell us a joke. What's your favorite food? What do you eat before a game? Those are questions that don't determine whether or not he'll be drafted and don't determine if he's a good football player or not. But what it does do is get him more relaxed, get him more comfortable, and then let's talk about your family. Let's talk about your brother. Let's talk about your where you grew up and. And if the answer is, well, we grew up on a farm in northern Saskatchewan, and then you say, okay, well, who was in charge of the farm chores, and what were yours, and how did you do that, and how did you handle that? I mean, those are all questions that can relate.
Yeah. Yeah.
What is your work ethic going to look like when you show up? It's too obvious, Sharky, to say, if we draft you, are you going to work hard? Well, we all know what the answer to that question would be, but if you start talking about his upbringing and then the chores come up and, I used to get up every morning at 5 o'clock and I made sure I, fed the cows and did what I had to do. Well, that to me is a check mark right there.
Character.
Okay.
Yeah.
Discipline, character, accountability. Check. Let's go. Next questions.
Yep.
Glen Suitor joining us on the Western Pizza Guest Hotline. This is Pressed Coverage, and Suits, this all comes back to football operations departments. Last night, the first ever Football Operations Award, the Ted Gouveia Memorial Award, was handed out to the Saskatchewan Roughriders. What did Jeremy O'Day and that group do so well, aside from winning a Grey Cup in 2025?
Yeah, I think as Barney and I talked about this, that winning helps. Whether it's Coach of the Year or this brand new award, which I'm really happy is there. Actually, I am. It's been a long time coming, I think, to celebrate the football ops side of your business, because it is so important. As you guys have heard many times, championships are won in the off season. And at least it gives you a chance in the off season. But I hope that these awards, and Coach of the Year has sort of been like this pretty much forever. I mean, I haven't gone back and looked and added them all up, but my guess is that most of the Coaches of the Year were Grey Cup champions. I hope it's more than that, though, especially this Football Ops Award, because to me, it's every team recruits, and every team does the work in the draft, and every team does those, filling their roster, signings, and things like that. But which teams are picking the right players? And which teams are looking at skill and hustle and size and strength and saying that, to me, is second, and character is first. How is he going to play in the rain? How is he going to play in November? How is he going to be as a teammate? And figuring those things out, that to me would be the hardest part of the Jeremy O'Day's job and that staff's job, is to not just look at a guy with great skill. And most of the guys you're looking at have great skill in one way or another. But it's to determine what's deeper than skill. What's deeper than physical talent is your want-to factor. You're, like we've talked about with these kids, your work ethic, how important are your teammates? When everything is going sideways, who are you going to be then? It's so difficult when you have limited time and you're only looking at video. And remember, all the American free agents, I think you guys talked about this with Arash last week, that all the American free agents don't have these interviews, so they don't get a chance to meet these guys face-to-face sometimes. I mean, you can go to a free agent camp and talk to them briefly, but, I think, for the most part, they're just hoping that the character is there to match the skill. So I think that, to me, is why this award is so important, is to try and find the organization who consistently finds the right players. Not necessarily the most skilled, the fastest, or the strongest, but the right ones. And the Riders certainly did that. And just to be clear, I think Corey Mace totally deserved Coach of the Year, and it wasn't just because they won. We could go through many small examples throughout the season when they hit some lows, when they lost their quarterback for a couple games, when they had a kicker that was struggling for a couple of games, and how Corey Mace handled all that was, to me, a big reason why he so deserved the Coach of the Year. And congratulations to the whole organization on that.
Before we run out of time, Glenn, I wanted to get your opinion. Of course, for anyone that might have missed our conversation with most outstanding player Nathan Rourke in the Canadian Football League, you can find it through our podcast at sportscage.com. The one thing that stood out to me is we talked a little bit about his pursuit to represent Canada at the Olympic Games. One thing he said was that, nothing was granted and nothing was going to be taken for granted by him. He wanted to pursue the opportunity. But the thing that also stood out to me was that it wasn't him approaching the BC Lions as much for permission to do it. It was more that the league encouraged him to try to do it. Does that surprise you at all?
I'm happily well, I shouldn't say surprised. Knowing Nathan from the last 2-3 years, and that's not a deep friendship or anything, but just knowing him professionally, I'm not surprised that he's taking this approach. I think when you look at the weekend and the Tom Brady flag football event, you saw what overconfidence and, bordering on arrogance, or maybe even crossing that border into big-time arrogance, where that can get you in trouble and embarrass you. And that's certainly not what Nathan wants to do. Nathan wants to go out, make the team on his merit, not on his resume, and earn a spot on the team so that his teammates respect him. And his teammates are saying, yeah, you're the best guy we can get for this gold medal run. That's what he wants. That's what, I think any player should aspire to. How do my teammates feel about this? Because if you just drop him in because he plays pro football, and if that's what the U.S. does, they're going to lose. They might not win a medal. But if you have guys that want to invest the time, learn the nuance, earn your spot, earn the respect of your teammates, now you've got a chance to go out and play your best together when it matters most. And I'm real happy that, and I've seen a couple of times. I'm going to go out, by the way, guys, and I'll have on the cage next week. This Sunday, he plays out in Surrey with his touch football team. They're called the Van City Vice. And I saw them play last weekend without him. He didn't make the opening day because he had a previous engagement. But he's going to go and play this weekend, I think. And I'm going to go and take some video of him. So we'll show on the cage next week. I'll get Colson to fire up a couple of videos on Nathan throwing the ball around with flag football. His team, by the way, looks excellent. It reminded me of the Team USA team in the Brady weekend. Because that's how good these guys look at the elite levels. I mean, they are really tremendous athletes and slightly different athletes than you see in the NFL or even in Canadian football, which is why Nathan wants to do this, right? Nathan wants to earn a chance to go after an Olympic gold medal with his teammates.
Just so you know, on Sunday, Nathan's got to bring the post-game beverages, so stick around afterwards. You might get a complimentary beverage or two. He's the new guy on the team, so he's got to bring the bevies.
And Sharky, I love that. And the fact that he is embracing that tells you all you need to know about Nathan Rourke.
It's a good sign. It's a very good sign.
It's a very good sign. Hey, listen, I played on a beer league hockey team where our line was called the football line, and I took great pride in being the best beer guy I could be. because guys, my one goal a year was really not helping in the score sheet or the win-loss column.
Yeah.
But I could bring a cold beer now.
Yeah. And so they saw value in you. They kept you around just for that reason. Yeah.
Yeah, a high round draft pick.
Yeah, exactly.
In free agency, they were like, there was rumors going around that other teams wanted me. So that's
Suits lives close to the beer store. He picks it up cold. You got to get him.
Exactly.
90 seconds. Quick question. If you're the BC Lions, are you okay with Nathan Rourke going ahead and doing this and pursuing this? Or if you are the owner of the BC Lions, are you saying no to our biggest asset? You should not put your body at risk.
No, I'm saying yes. I am saying 100% go represent your country proudly, win us a gold medal, and let's be the best flag football team in the world, and we're going to support you 100%. I know the commissioner feels that way in the league. I'm sure that almost every team will feel the same way. Yes, you'll be a little nervous that he might, knock on wood, he won't, but might get injured. But as I've said many times, you can get hurt, raking and mowing your lawn if you pick up the bag the wrong way. So, there's a little risk, but absolutely, I'm 100% allowing one of our pro players to go and represent our country. And guys, flag football is exploding now. There's over 1 million kids in our country playing flag football right now, and that is up on the women's side 300%, on the men's side 20% over the last year. And by 28, when we play in the Olympics, this thing is going to be massive, and it is the number one growing sport in our country and in North America right now, flag football.
Love it.
Suits, thanks so much for this. Remember, good things don't happen in Surrey, only Cloverdale or Langley. Take your pick.
Yeah.
Good point. I'll be in there, get my video, and get the heck out. No, I'm kidding. Looking forward to seeing Nate, throw the ball around a little bit with the flag guys. It'll be great.
I love it.
Look forward to hearing from you. Thanks for doing this, Suits. Have a great rest of your night.
Okay, thanks, guys.
Cheers.
Glen Suitor, press coverage. We've got Team Matt Dunstone coming up before 6 o'clock, plus your SJHL report just around the corner. This is the Sports Cage, streaming at sportscage.com and on 620 CKRM. Well, tough day for Nancy Martin and Rylan Kleider at the Canadian Mixed Doubles Curling Championship. They fell to Serena Gray Withers and Victor Pietrangelo 10-2 in a qualifying game in the playoffs. They are now out, and the tournament and championship will continue in Surrey, BC throughout the course of the weekend. To hockey, Quappel Valley Highway Hockey League Junior C League Final. The Emerald Park Wizards are at the Regina River Rats. 7:30 face-off tonight. That best-of-5 series tied 1-1. Saskatchewan Female Hockey League Under-18 AA Championship Final. The Regina Rebels are at the Prince Albert Foxes. 7:30 puck drop in Game 1 of the best-of-3 series. NHL tonight, Canadian teams on the ice include Montreal home to Columbus. Pittsburgh's at Ottawa. Winnipeg takes on Colorado. Anaheim plays Calgary. Edmonton is in Vegas, while Los Angeles takes on the Vancouver Canucks. And that's your Sports Cage ticker for Steelcraft Doors. We need to take a break. Come back in a moment with Benny Walchuk and your SJHL report. This is the Sports Cage, streaming at sportscage.com and on 620 CKRM. Yes, on the Western Pizza Guest Hotline, the voice of the Yorkton Terriers and Melville Millionaires. No, he's not conflicted in his sleep. It's Benny Walchuk joining us on the line. Benny, the most wonderful time of year is here, isn't it?
It is, yeah, and to not travel too far for playoffs and have both teams playing off, it might have its challenges a little bit, but it's great to see both barns packed each and every night.
Okay, before we get to that Highway 10 rivalry between the Yorkton Terriers and the Melville Millionaires, 3 of the 4 first-round series are continuing. Only one sweep, and maybe that's for the best considering fuel prices right now, between the Flin Flon Bombers and the Estevan Bruins. The Bombers sweep the series in 4 games. Your takeaway on that one? Flin Flon, let's face it, had a tremendous regular season, and by the way I see it, just continued that into the playoffs.
Yeah, exactly. Before we talked about the Bombers, hats off to the Estevan Bruins. I know that first game kind of got away from them, but that game number 2 could have went either way. It was kind of a shot from the point, took a bounce on its way through, and Flin Flon's up 2-0. But if Estevan sneaks one out, they go 1-1 back at home, this could be a brand new series. So it was one of those things. It was a great regular season for Estevan. Of course, they had Ewan Rennie, who was the SJHL's MVP and top forward, and Rylan Williams had a great year. So heck of a year for Drew Kosher, kind of his first full year behind the bench for the Estevan Bruins. So lots of learning for them here going forward. But Flin Flon, who might be still a little bit banged up, still have guys coming back to the lineup, but just so good at home, just good structure, and they've got experience playing in the semifinals and the finals last number of years. So just maybe not a surprise that the Flin Flon won, but I thought it might go a couple more games.
A thought on both squads in that first round matchup. First and foremost, the Estevan Bruins. They underwent the overhaul with their hockey operations department. Was it a bonus in maybe them playing with host money getting into the opening round?
I think it was, yeah. They got some young talent. They got some good recruiting now. And like they said, they got 2 20-year-olds in the offseason, Colton Getzlaff, as well as Riley Williams. So they wanted to maybe take a step, get some of these young guys some playoff experience, and they did. Yeah, it didn't go as much as they want, but I think it's a great first year for Drew. He's a young guy who's got plenty of hockey experience at his young age, and I think it's going to be a good stepping stone for the Bruins for sure.
Benny, when you look at the Flin Flon Bombers, it's someone like my pre-wedding dating life, right? They get to go to the dance all the time, but the girl goes home with someone else, if you know what I mean. The Flin Flon Bombers have been there, done that when it comes to getting to the SJHL final. Is there a lot of pressure on them, especially with the type of regular season that they posted?
Yeah, I think there is. I think Mike's feels it each and every year. Yeah, making the playoffs. Like, some teams are just happy to make the playoffs. It's great, but they're like, we have to make the finals. We have to have a chance to win. And I think it is definitely win a championship or bust. They've been to the dance before. They've been to the finals before, and I think they want to, at the end here, take home the trophy. So pressure is at a premium here for the Flin Flon Bombers for sure. And I think getting some time off, getting some guys back in the lineup here, they'll have about 10 days off before the next series, which would be definitely beneficial for them. But yeah, it's definitely win a championship or bust there for Flin Flon.
I'm not going to kid you, Benny Walchuk. When I looked at the playoff series between Melfort and Battlefords, I was intrigued. Just the way that Melfort all of a sudden seemed to find their way and put it together down the stretch, and the consistency that I think Battlefords kind of showed throughout the regular season. I was shocked that there was a potential last night for that series to end in 4 games. It didn't. What have you seen?
Yeah, just Caden Sturp has been really good for Battlefords. Like, Melford's outshot the Battleford North Star, especially in those first 2 games. In Battlefords, I think they had 40 shots apiece, and Caden was very, very good. And then you look, he was very good in game 3. And then last night, I'm not sure what happened. Maybe a little bit of pressure of a chance to clinch the game. But he, I don't know if Melford found something in video or what, but they scored 9 goals on him last night in that 9-4 win. So we'll see how that is. Like you said, you want to give this team has lots of experience. You don't want to get them any kind of momentum. I think Melford does have momentum, so I think this has a potential to maybe go the distance now, because Melford's rolling now. I know Battleford's going back at home and still pretty good at home ice, but I think Battleford is probably pretty upset they couldn't finish it, because when you can give a team like that has lots of experience a little bit of the door open, they're definitely going to open it big time.
Benny Walchuk in the SJHL Report for Chad Reach, Senior Wealth Advisor. When we asked SportsCage.com to predict a potential first-round playoff upset, that series between Battlefords and Melfort was the one that most selected. Would you have agreed with that? And even though it looks like the series could be short-lived, I don't think that changes anything, as you just alluded to.
No, I don't think so. Like you said, with Melfort playing so well in the second half, and Battleford's had a great year. Connor Logan's the SJHL Coach of the Year, but I've seen him 3 or 4 times, and I think they lost each and every game against Belleville and Yorkton. So I probably seen them up there at their worst, but they've played so well. They're so consistent. They get to get good goaltending. Anthony Campbell, one of the most underrated players in the SJHL. He's leading the way now. I think he's leading the SJHL in scoring right now in the playoffs. So, but it's his Melfort team that's got a little bit of healthier. I think they're still kind of up in the air. Kason Kabelka was great down the stretch in between the pipes, but he's had a little struggles here early on, and they went down to Madden Malacca last night, the veteran. So we'll see how that goes forward. But I think goaltending-wise, it's been a big factor in this series, and we'll see if maybe Madden Malacca can steal the crease here and go on a run here against Battleford for the Melfort Mustangs. That could turn things around for sure.
You mentioned the word consistent. I don't think that you can put that in the same sentence as the Weyburn Red Wings from the outside looking in. They are tied with Nipawin 2-2 in their series. I expected it to be close, but I just didn't know what to expect night in and night out from the Red Wings. Is that the biggest storyline in that series in your eyes?
Yeah, they're a team like we've seen with Yorkton and Malville playing them lots. They play them, I think, 8 times during the regular season. So I've seen Weyburn lots, and like Malville went in there and beat them, 8-9-5 or something, and scored 5 power play goals. And then the next night, Malville went in there and lost 5-1. Yorkton did the same. So they're definitely an inconsistent team, and the consistency goes by their goaltender. Joey Rocha, of course, coming back from Swift Current, had a little bit of a tough stretch to start his SJHL career, but he's been very good here in the playoffs. So I think the way the consistency goes, it goes the way of the netminder and Joey Rocha. So I think the way he plays, the way the team plays. But their team, once again, talk about getting a lot of experience. They, of course, made the SJHL final last year. And I think with the experience here at Nipawin, I think they're going to think one got away last night, losing one in overtime, heading back to the cage now for game number 5. So, yeah, definitely is a kind of an inconsistent team in the Weyburn Red Wings, but I don't put it past them because with all the experience they earned last year.
So if you look at that series tied at 2 between Nipawin and Weyburn, does Nipawin automatically get the upper hand because they've got home ice advantage for 2 of the next 3 games?
I think so, yeah. The cage is different. I don't know if you've ever been up there, Dave. I'm sure you've been there a couple times. They got new boards in there, but it's still it's a small ice surface. It's one-sided seating. It's just a different animal there. And they got the horns. They got 2 or 3 horns going off. The fans get a little bit more wild there in Nipawin as the playoff rolls on. So I think it is definitely an advantage here for the Nipawin Hawks. I think that's why Weyburn feels like one slipped away last night. They go up 3-1, headed back to Nipawin. They're still in pretty good shape. You only have to win one up there to wrap up the series. Or even win at home ice in game 6. So it's an advantage now for the Nipawin Hawks. They do have good goaltending as well as Gage Robert. I think the momentum is going back to the Nipawin's direction. That's one big goal last night in overtime for the Hawks.
Absolutely. Okay, let's finish things off on this edition of the SJHL Report with Benny Walchuk. Highway 10 series, the one that you're calling, Yorkton Terriers, Melville Millionaires. So who do you think's going to win? No, I'm just kidding. I'm kidding. Analyze the first 3 games so far in the series.
Well, the fans have won the first 3 games. Yeah. Let's talk about that. But yeah, game one was like Melville. But of course, Yorkton's played them very well. I think they won the last 4 meetings heading into the playoff matchup. And Melville went in kind of a little bit looser. Like they lost, but hey, we're a brand new series, and they got off to a tough start, giving up the opening goal. Then they got back-to-back goals, got a big power play goal in game 1 and in period number 2, and was able to hold on there for the big game 1 victory. That kind of, I think, shocked maybe the Yorkton fans a little bit and the entire organization to how well Melville played. And then going into game number 2 is kind of a carbon copy start. Yorkton gets a quick goal in the first period, and biggest thing for them, they were able to get that second goal and get that third goal, and finally strike on the power play to get the momentum to get game 2 win. And then going into game 3, I'm sure both coaching staff, if you ask both coaches, they said Melville probably deserves that win. Melville was very, very good in game number 3 and the opening 40 minutes. They got out to a 2-1 lead late, got that 3-1 goal early in the third period, and the Millionaire fans maybe got a little bit relaxed, and that kind of translated on the ice, and the players got a little bit more relaxed. So it was a tough loss for sure for the Millionaires and their fans. They thought maybe, hey, go up 2-1, game number 4 on Friday back at home, and we could take a real stranglehold in the series. But Yorkton showed like you have each and every time here. This is the 3rd time this season that the Terriers are able to storm back and win in overtime in Melville. So it was a tough loss for the Millionaires, but Doug Johnson alluded to on the coaches show we had with him this week that if you have long memories and you let this one dwell on you, you're going to be golfing here very, very soon. If you let this dwell, you got to shake it off, get ready for game number 4. And for the Terriers, I think they got some momentum back. They have a chance now. They were grabbed home ice advantage back in the series, and if they were to sneak one out on the road again on Friday, they have a chance to wrap things up at home, where they've been very good this season. So I think the momentum's back in the Yorkton Terriers' direction. But hey, you got Doug Johnson, who's been coaching a long time. They know they can play very well. They just got to get some timely scoring and be able to shut things down when it matters most. And they've been getting goaltending, which is great in the playoffs. So I think the series is still long from over. Hopefully it goes 6 or 7 for financial situation and for the fans here in the Parkland region. But yeah, right now advantage the Yorkton Terriers, but Millionaires back at home to try to regroup on Friday.
My last question then, is Friday a must win for the Melville Millionaires?
Absolutely. Yeah, I was talking to Doug today at a funeral we had here in Melville, and he says, yes, we have to win tomorrow night. So I think that's the biggest thing. Like, you're not going to throw in the cards if they don't win tomorrow night, but I think it's crucial. Get it down to a best of 3. Get the momentum back your direction and put more pressure back on the Terriers. But yeah, I think that's like I said, it's cliche, but that's the biggest game of the season for the Melville Millionaires is on Friday, and we'll see what happens. Should be a great crowd. I think the 50-50 is over $20,000 total jackpot, and I'm sure that's going to climb, and it should be a packed house there in Melville on Friday and for Yorkton on Saturday, so I'm looking forward to it.
Geez, somebody wins that, they could afford to have Benny Walchuk come and shovel their driveway for them.
Exactly. Yeah, we'll see. Maybe a little bit more I might be offering him, but we'll see.
You got enough of that for sure. That's fantastic stuff, Benny. Enjoy. I can't wait to hear your call tomorrow night in Melville. All the best. Thanks for doing this.
Thanks, Dave. Appreciate it.
Benny Walchuk and the SJHL Report for Chad Reach, Senior Wealth Advisor, GP Financial Services, and Aviso Wealth. If you need a second opinion on your retirement plan, Chad and his local team are available for a no-obligation meeting. We're going to take a break and come back with Matt Dunstone. His Team Canada teammates are going to be joining us as well as we get you set for the World Men's Curling Championship. It opens in Utah tomorrow, and they'll be joining us next. This is the Sports Cage. We're streaming at sportscage.com and on your radio at 620 CKRM. Welcome back to the Sports Cage. I'm Dave Thomas, filling in for Barney Shankaruk. It's time to go out on the Western Pizza guest hotline. Of course, the perfect pie every time with the Western Canadian ingredients that can't be beat. You'll find them all at Western Pizza. And we're pleased to be joined by the Canadian champion. Yes, heading off to the Worlds to represent Canada at the Men's World Curling Championship, Matt Dunstone and EJ Harnden and Colton Lott. Yes, Team Dunstone joining us on the line here this afternoon as they count down to getting things going tomorrow. And first and foremost, Matt, let's start with you. It's been a minute, seemingly, since you've won the Brier. What has it been like since winning?
I think a lot of relief has kind of settled in. It kind of feels like playing with house money now a little bit. I would say the 3 or 4 days after the Brier were fairly overwhelming in, a lot of great ways, but it was a lot more than I thought it was going to be. I would say within the last week or so, it's kind of settled in and everything's been forgotten about. Sports is a what have you done for me lately? And the Briar's over 2 weeks ago. So we've moved on and now, all the curling fans have moved on to the World Championships.
You now get the opportunity to represent Canada on the world stage. What does this opportunity mean to you?
Yeah, totally. Ever since I kind of understood what curling was and started playing it as a young kid, it's always been about the Brier. Grew up watching it. All my favorite curlers played in it. It's the event that everybody wanted. And, to follow up on that, to represent your country too, means a lot. It's been 10 years for me. It's felt like a lifetime. That piece of it, I'm awfully excited about. And, to be able to do it with this group in particular, where, there was a lot of storylines for each of us individually on why representing Canada again would mean a lot to us. And, so that's what's going to make this World Championship really special. Not going to take it for granted, obviously. And, Canadian curling's been on a nice little stretch here. And, I'm excited to be a part of that and hopefully continue that run that we've been on.
You mentioned your team and the storylines, Matt. Let's talk about the team and bringing together EJ and Ryan Harnden to your front end to really help anchor and solidify your lineup. What has their addition meant to your team?
Yeah, truthfully, I was laughing because I was thinking about all the pranks and stuff that they pull on us on the road. And I was just thinking about how Cups had to go through that too. So that's truthfully why I was laughing. But yeah, I've said this before, like for me, it was 2013 at the trials was, sitting watching these guys in the crowd was, when for me, it was like, man, like, I want to do this. And, me and Colt had won our first Canadian junior at the time. So we were trending, and watching those guys win and play with that energy, is something we hadn't really seen in the sport before. It was very exciting. So that event for me was like, yeah, like this is something I want to pursue. And then obviously to have it come full circle, and play with these guys and win with these guys. Very, very cool moment. And, I was actually thinking in the hack in the ninth end in that Brier final, when we had that double to take 2 to go up 3 coming home, I was literally sitting in the hack and just thinking about how in 2013 Cups had this very similar shot to go up 3 coming home in that trials final as well. And that's what I was thinking about in the hack. And to have that moment with the same front end, life works in miraculous ways. And for us to be able to make that shot, go up 3 coming home, it's all good. And, these guys are the best or one of the best to ever do it at their positions. And, to be able to end this chapter with this group, who's had a lot of success over the 16 months here, pretty special.
Colton, I can see you over there smiling, and your face kind of lit up, Colton Lott, when talking about the Broom Brothers and EJ and Ryan and some of the pranks that they pulled. Can you let us in on any of them?
I guess a very main prank that they love to do is just take. It depends if we're staying in a hotel room. They'll either take our clothes and just like hide them, shoes, or they'll take some of the coffee stuff, all that's all ready to go, and shove it in our blanket and pillowcases and all that kind of fun. Then we find it way later when we're going to bed.
And the thermostat. Don't forget about the thermostat.
Oh, yes, the thermostat. Yeah. They like to crank up the heat in the room.
EJ, thanks for chiming in there. We will get to you in a moment. First, Colton, though, on a more serious note, you're getting set for your first World Men's Curling Championship experience with Matt Dunstone and team. Who should we be watching for? Who are you watching for as you head towards Utah?
Yeah, like it's definitely not your regular teams that you've seen at the Worlds prior. We've played a lot of these teams. We know what they're about. Like the Scottish team there, like they're equivalent to Mowat. Like they're a very good team, but like I think for us it doesn't matter who we play. We're gonna go out there, stick to our game plan, stick within the team, and perform at the best that we can by doing that.
So EJ Harnden, when it comes to you and what to watch, the question is, a lot of Canadians are going to be watching to see the interaction and or reaction between yourselves and Team Sweden. Do you anticipate any tension between yourselves, Sweden, Nicholas Edin, after what we saw at the Olympic Games between Brad Jacobs' team and Team Sweden there?
No, I don't. I think that was an isolated incident. And I don't think it has sort of any relation to our team and to what transpired. So I honestly haven't even thought about it. And so I don't see it being an issue, and I don't even see it really coming up in any way, shape, or form other than it being brought up by others. We have a great relationship with that team. Over the last number of years on the tour, things happen in the high pressure and situations. Like to think that was an isolated incident, and again, in no relation to our team. So I don't see it becoming an issue or coming up in any way, shape, or form.
So as we are running out of time, Matt, I guess the question for you, do you feel any nerves or pressure heading towards this World Men's Curling Championship in Utah?
Yeah, feel great, cool, calm, collected. I mean, like I said earlier, we're playing with house money a little bit here. The beautiful part about Canada is it's hard to get out of the country and represent the country, but having played in those events to do so, there's no better preparation for these types of events. When you get to play in trials, finals, Brier finals, the atmosphere that you feel in those events are the biggest atmospheres that you can feel in the sport. And when you do get through those and, you get to the World Championships, you're very well prepared for it. So that's where I'm at, feel really good about it. Again, I mean, all the teams, nobody's new, play everybody multiple times a season. And like I said, the way I see it, we've already played on the biggest stages, that this sport has to offer.
So you mentioned your prep, Matt. Has anything changed then as you get set to go tomorrow?
I mean, no different, truthfully. I think just taking the extra couple days off, maybe just from, celebrations in the media whirlwind that we had. But truthfully, it's, preparing no differently for this than I would a Brier, than an Olympic trials, any of those major events. I mean, it's tale as old as time, but, less is more.
Matt Dunstone, Colton Lott, EJ Harnden, we wish you all the best in Utah and the World Men's Curling Championship. Thank you so much for taking some time for us. The Canadian men are on the ice tomorrow afternoon at 1:30 when they open up their schedule against South Korea. That's going to do it for the Sports Cage today. Thank you so much for joining us. Of course, if you missed anything from our great guests, from Nathan Rourke to Benny Walchuk to Arash Madani, Glen Suitor, or Team Matt Dunstone, you can find the podcast at sportscage.com. We'll talk to you again tomorrow. Have a great rest of your evening, and thanks for listening on 620 CKRM, and of course, streaming live all the time at sportscage.com.